talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 10:01, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Some breaking news this morning. Arsenal have confirmed William Saliba has signed a new contract with the club. It's expected to be about 5 years. More on this coming up with Jim and Stuart in the show. Now, Aaron Ramsey is back in the Wales squad for the first time since he moved to Pumas in Mexico. Wales face England in a friendly at Wembley next Thursday, live on talkSPORT, before Belgium go to Cardiff for a huge World Cup qualifier. Craig Bellamy has senior players Ethan Ampadu, Joe Rodon and Nathan Broadhead all fit again, but it's reported Dan James has suffered an injury in Leeds training. Nuno Espirito Santo is encouraged by West Ham's 1-1 draw at Everton. He acknowledges, though, he has a lot of work to do. So what were his early messages to the players?
Try to create, like we did in the goal, and balance situations, take advantage of the speed that we have, but overall being more compact, close to each other, simple.
Jarrett Bowen's powerful strike on 65 minutes cancelled out Michael Keane's early header. David Moyes is annoyed his team couldn't make first half advantage count for more.
Start the second half, I thought we looked as if we were going to get the second goal. We didn't. I thought West Ham gained confidence and their counter-attacks were difficult to deal with.
Thomas Franks confirmed Dominic Solanke's had minor ankle surgery. Tottenham are at Bodo Glimt in the Champions League tonight. Liverpool face a hostile atmosphere at Galatasaray. That's live on talkSPORT 2 from 7. Meanwhile, the special ones told us he hasn't ruled out a third spell at Chelsea.
You know how I am. I just love it. Will be my Chelsea until starts. Will be my Chelsea after the game, during the game. That's my Benfica, and the only thing that matters.
Chelsea versus Jose Mourinho's Benfica is live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. That breaking news again. William Saliba signed a long-term contract at Arsenal. We expect that's 5 years. More on this coming up in the show.
talkSPORT News.
World leaders are welcoming Donald Trump's plan for peace in Gaza, and Sir Keir Starmer will announce plans for new online NHS appointments. More with the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, we've got your car's inbuilt safety tech covered with expertly trained technicians across the country, so you can drive away happy every time.
Mostly dry and settled across England and Wales, with some sunny spells. Across most of Scotland and Northern Ireland, cloudier with some outbreaks of rain and brisk winds.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Alex Crook and Stuart Pearce, and we're live on talkSPORT. So West Ham take a point at Everton. But as Nuno set himself an impossible task, fixing the disconnect between the fans and the club. Meanwhile, Jose Mourinho back at Stamford Bridge tonight. Amidst the fanfare, how is he really returning? The legend or a truly faded force? Also today, Brighton boss Fabian Hürzeler will join us. Is the sentiment around Ruben Amorim turning? When will the US Ryder Cup inquest begin? Has transparency actually led to acceptance for referees? And is the one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to dressing room motivation? It's Jim White, Alex Crook and Stuart Pearce. We're all live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
So, Lord Jordan, good morning, Simon. He says he won't be listening, Alex. Stuart, I don't listen when I'm not on. He's listening. He had dental surgery yesterday afternoon. I got in touch with Stuart last night. Basically, the message is, I'm a bit beaten up and tired, but otherwise fine.
I thought that was a normal day for him, you know, relevant to the dental work that he's had.
Exactly. So, Simon, good morning. Wherever you are, he's probably playing paddle tennis. Alex, good morning.
Good morning.
Looking forward to the next 3 hours in the company of both of you. William Saliba, you brought us this news last week, Alex, that a new deal was about to be signed, and indeed that has happened.
Yeah, this is a big one for Arsenal. When Andrea Berta came in as sporting director, I think one of his main jobs was tying down not just William Saliba, but Bukayo Saka as well. A 5-year contract for Saliba, so he's there now until 2030. We know that some big clubs in Europe, including Real Madrid, have shown interest. So I think this is a real signal of intent from Arsenal. I understand the pay packet is 250 grand a week or there or thereabouts, so not too shabby. I think Bukayo Saka potentially is in line for an even bigger deal to reflect his worth to the football club, because his contract is up in 2027, as Saliba's was.
To be fair, signing a player on your contract internally is almost like signing a player from outside these days. You know, they want to make sure that their investments there in place. I think Arsenal were going in the right directions, albeit silverware's not come their way. But you can see why players have bought into it, because they seem from the outside to have a good spirit about the camp.
Yeah, that's key. Good point, Stuart. I mean, Gabriel Saliba, there appears to be no sign that these top players are doubting the project.
Exactly that. You know, the more big hitters you end up getting signed up, all of a sudden it sends a brilliant message outside the club as well as internally to other players. You know, if Saliba signs, Saka will think, oh, I might want a bit of that. Our best players are not leaving.
Yeah. Nuno Espirito Santo took his West Ham bow last night, albeit up at Everton's beautiful new home, and it ended up a point apiece. Stuart, I'll stick with you. I mean, could we expect no more than a new managerial bump as opposed to a bounce here? Because heads are down a bit at West Ham.
Yeah, they are. As I say, the fans are not particularly happy at the moment. A lot of their frustration goes to board level, you know, not so much manager level. I think Graham Potter, there was doubts about him and a little bit unease amongst the West Ham fans whether he was the right man to keep leading the club forward. They've not seen enough of a rise in the results to actually fully back him. Nuno's come in on the back of, you know, I follow Forest quite well. Really, I think he's come out of Forest with a really strong reputation, probably stronger than he went into the club.
But is a West Ham disquiet justified?
Well, yes. I mean, they're in the bottom three. Let's be honest with you. So that doesn't lie. They've had a bad start to the season, bad end to last season as well. So they expect, I think West Ham fans would expect, if you said to them, where do you expect West Ham to finish? They would turn around and say, a reasonable cup run in the cups and probably 8th, 9th, 10th in the league as they stand. They're not seeing that at the moment.
Alex, I mean, we heard sack the board, the chance of that. We want our club back. We expected that. That's what you get at the moment because many West Ham fans not happy. And Nuno tapped into that post-match about this disquiet amongst the support.
I think what is important is to appreciate what our fans did travelling to Liverpool on a Monday night and giving the support that they given. And of course, it's our main priority that we come closer to our fans, to stretch the gap. And we have to deliver so they can appreciate the work of the boys. So it was a nice moment for us. Moving forward is important, this bond.
I can imagine you think, though, this is just a very, very small step forward.
Of course, we are starting now. We have a lot of work in front of us, but we are delighted and we embrace the challenge.
So, Alex, Nuno's out to fix the disconnect between...
Good luck with that.
I was just about to say that. Good luck. I mean, right, okay, where do we start? Where does he start?
Well, all he can do is get the team performing on the pitch, and it was a better performance last night. I looked at the team sheet, and there just seemed to be a better balance to the team. They looked a bit more organised than they maybe have been under Graham Potter. They conceded again from a set piece, which is the 8th time this season, so that is clearly one big issue that he's got to address. In terms of his relationship with the fans, it seemed to be quite a positive welcome that he got. I think we broke the news that Slaven Bilic was a candidate, and that didn't really go down too well with West Ham fans. I think Nuno was the one they all wanted. They certainly weren't in love with Graham Potter, so I think he's coming in actually in that regard from quite a strong position. But it's always an uneasy relationship, and Stuart's been there between the West Ham fans and the hierarchy. When it's going well, they'll get on board. They can make the London Stadium quite a intimidating place to go. Certainly they did in some of those European nights you had. But as soon as results start to go badly, the old complaints come up again. They don't like the London Stadium. They should never have left Upton Park. The recruitment isn't good enough. They're not on board with David Sullivan and Karen Brady. There are too many decision makers at the club. So I think Nuno really has got to shut out all that outside noise and just focus on managing the team. I don't think they'll go down, West Ham. I think they probably would have done if Graham Potter had stayed.
I think there's, when I watch West Ham play, Jim, I think there's a fragility about what they do. I think I watched the game yesterday. That's certainly the first half. All of a sudden, West Ham look very fragile. I'm talking from a playing aspect. Once they get their tails up a little bit and get a little bit of joy in the game, all of a sudden they look at a totally different team. They are a little bit fragile, and I think Nuno's got to solve that problem. So probably in the Moisey era, he got rid of that fragility, if you like, and offered a little bit of consistency. Whilst the fans didn't overly like it on occasion, there was a consistency about the performance that you were going to get. So if things went against the team, they knew how to deal with that and solve that.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked there, as Alex mentioned. I mean, it seems there is a perception of the West Ham fan base. This lot are never happy. They're never happy. There's a fella stopped me in the street recently, and I'm going to say this, and he started laying into me about, you talk to Sullivan all the time. Well, I don't. I talk to him now and again. And I was getting this, that, and the next. We had about 20 minutes. You know who you are out there, and I enjoyed the chat with you. At the end of it, he said, well, Jim, I'm quite surprised. You're not a bad fella. I thought, oh, that's quite nice. So I walked off relatively
Come to that conclusion, did he?
Came to that extremely misguided conclusion. But at the end of the day, it achieved nothing because he is absolutely set in his ways, this fella. And like so many others, this is what we think of the hierarchy, and we ain't changing. They want them gone.
Yeah, that is the case, and that's been the case for a long time. I would be mindful in some ways in regard to, if you do make change, is that change better? I think the Man United fans probably were craving change, and when they've had a modicum of change, well, it sent it backwards, in my opinion.
Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly that. The same happened with managerial situation at West Ham with Moisey. Yeah. More than 50% of the fans wanted him gone, by the way. It'd be fair to say.
It happened twice,
yeah.
Moisey.
Yeah, and the first one probably weren't down to the fans. That was whether there was another manager put in place and promises made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To Pellegrini or whatever, who knows? But the bottom line is, I think it's a dangerous thing to do, to keep wishing away. And I remember talking to Dave about, Karen and David, and to be fair, he said, well, there's a lot worse owners out there, you know what I mean?
But the stadium, Stuart, would you like to have played there?
Yeah. You've got 60-odd thousand people that are double passionate. Put me as a player out in that environment, you've got to thrive in it, surely. You have to. We had some brilliant nights in Europe and whatever, and I think there's a narrative at the moment with the fans, don't like the stadium, end of. And there's a mentality of harking back to the Bowling Ground that was bloody awful, by the way. It had character and it had history.
Awful in what way?
Oh, listen, it was dated. That's why you move stadiums, you know what I mean? So it's strange. Like, West Ham have moved from a sort of dated stadium at the Bowling. I used to go in the 70s, well, you know what I mean? Trying to get in there and out of there was hard work and that type of thing, facilities and all those type of things.
But fans, Stuart, love their spiritual home.
Yeah,
and now many would argue, but they've moved us to an athletic stadium.
What is the mentality? Why have Everton moved from Goodison and the buy-in of all the supporters with all the tradition that Goodison had is on side?
The difference there is it's a purpose-built stadium. The same with Tottenham, which is absolutely fantastic. Listen, I've never obviously played at Upton Park. I've certainly haven't played at London Stadium. I've been there to cover games. I find it quite a soulless place to watch football. The crowd are too far away from the pitch. The infrastructure in terms of getting in and out is a nightmare. I remember I left a game last season with the fans and you were queuing for hours just to try and get back to the train station. I'm not a massive fan of
Yet
London
you say
Stadium.
you would play there quite happily, Stuart.
You know what? Obviously, I've been on the pitch a fair bit. when you're on the pitch has got a different feel to it. When you're in the stands where we commentate from games, you can see the gaps between the terraces and the gaps. When you're on the pitch, you see a complete bowl.
You need a telescope from the press box.
But it is slightly different as a player on there, I think. You know? But you've got to create history, Jim. You've got to create memories. You've got to create history. They've got the stadium. I don't see the point in harking back to another stadium that's long gone now. We're talking about a new stadium that's got 60-odd thousand people in there that made financial common sense.
Some West Ham fans might want to give us a call, and when I suggest this, there's an avalanche of calls, but that's how we like it. I mean, is that the case? We can all hark back to what it was like before, but we're in the here and now. Is it not just more or less a question of get on with it? And I know you won't like the way that I've verbalised that, but is that really not what it's come down to? Get on with it, because that's your home from this point onwards. 03717 22 3344. West Ham got a point at Everton. Nuno's in charge. So are you going to get behind him from this point onwards? And is Potter going to be a dim and distant memory as far as you're concerned anytime soon? 03717 22 3344 81089. Jim White, Alex Crook, Stuart Pearce, live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. Good morning, everybody. We're chatting away here. Nice atmosphere in the studio this morning, you know what I'm saying? Jim White, Alex Crook and Stuart Pearce, and we're live on talkSPORT. We miss you, Simon, and of course we're live on the telly. So whatever you want to watch us, you can watch us as well. We're live this morning on Samsung, Fire TV, Android, Google TV, Prime Video. Whatever you want to watch us, you can see us, and that's fine by me. Later on this morning, I've got to say, thanks to Paul Camlin and everybody down at Brighton, producer Luke set this up. We have a very interesting, very keen to find out what you think of this, a three-way chat, if you like. Alex and myself did it earlier on with Fabian Hürzeler, the young manager at Brighton. He doesn't like being reminded that he's very young, but Fabian, you're very young, and he's in charge of Brighton, and they are doing things. Just look at what happened at Stamford Bridge at the weekend when they went there and won 3-1. In the meantime, we're on West Ham. We're going to take some calls in a second, but Martin O'Neill was in studio yesterday. He knows a thing or two about playing the game and modern day players. This was his take on some of the West Ham players.
Now you have to look at some of the players that West Ham have, and they're not actually very good. They're not a good side. It's really as simple as that.
What, not good
individually or collectively?
A bit of both. A bit of both. Really, there's no phenomenal pace in the team for a start. There's nothing to be fantastically enthusiastic about.
Yep. Stuart, is he right? I mean, how good are the foundations?
What I think they're lacking of, and I watched the game yesterday, they're probably too easy to play against. When Everton were knocking the ball around, they had the ascendancy in the game in the first half. They had too much time on the ball. West Ham weren't good at getting tight to people and doing the dirty stuff in the game. The stuff that you've got to fall back on when things are not going well for you in a game, to get a foothold in games. They're not good in that. I think they have the ability and the technical players to be a decent side, but their confidence is punctured too easily within games. I mean, I think I saw their confidence get punctured in the first half against Everton. Second half, when they had their tails up a little bit, they looked the most effective side in the game, you know, and I think that's West Ham at the moment.
Where would they be without Jared Bowen?
Well, that would be a problem. I mean, he's been a brilliant signing. I think Dave bought him in for about 12, 13 million, or was it 20 million, whatever it was. Whatever they paid for him, Dave bought him in from Hull. Brilliant investment. His goals, and Martin said no pace in the team. Jared's got that little bit of pace, you know what I mean? And the finish yesterday showed that as well, that he's got the ability to score a goal. Without him, they've got a big problem.
And you've worked closely with him, haven't you? One-on-one.
Yeah, he's a smashing kid. He's just a really nice young man.
I mean, quite literally one-on-one.
Well, now and then, obviously.
Just some drills.
Yeah. But all coaches have at West Ham that have worked with him. He's brilliant to work with, you know what I mean? Very receptive, wants to get better. And I know it's a driving ambition for him to stay in the international fold, to hopefully go to the World Cup next
time. Does he make the England squad this Friday?
He'll be very close to it. It depends how he's done in training when he's been under Thomas's care, and Thomas has had a close look at him. I wouldn't say he's a natural starter for England, but I would say he's a really good impact substitute at the moment for his country.
Alex, you're at games all the time for talkSPORT. Of course you are. West Ham amongst them. You know more than most on this. Can he be a success at this football club, Nuno? Are the foundations there at the moment?
No, because I think the squad is so disjointed for the reasons that Martin alluded to. The lack of pace, I think, is a major issue. I think if you look at the top end of the pitch, Fulkrug didn't pull up any trees last night. He's been injured more often than he's been fit. Callum Wilson is a massive risk because he is a player who's had a lot of injuries over the last couple of years. I think defensively, there's a reason they're conceding so many goals from set pieces. Mavropanos wasn't good enough for the Premier League when he was here first time around. He's certainly not good enough now. It was interesting that as well as James Ward-Prowse, who clearly doesn't have the legs now that Nuno feels they need in midfield, he'll be moved on. He was left out. So too was Jean-Claire Todibo. Now, I know a lot of Premier League clubs looked at signing Todibo, and the reports they got back about his character were negative, to say the least. That's why clubs like Newcastle didn't pursue their interest. There's been issues with Lopetegui at West Ham. There's been dressing room issues with Todibo. So I think, again, he'll be moved on, not because he's a terrible player, but because he's just not the type of character that you need around. So I think there's a lack of quality in this West Ham squad, and they're too reliant, in my opinion, on Jarrod Bowen. I think they paid too much money for Max Kilman as well, Stuart.
My follow-up to what I was saying earlier about the confidence of the team is punctured too easily. I would go back to the time with Dave, and what underpinned Dave's tenure at the football club, he had a core of English players. And I'm not suggesting if you have a core of English players that go right through the team that you're going to be successful. I don't think that's the case. But he had Creswell, Fabianski I'd throw into this as well, Rice, Noble, Dawson, Antonio. And they underpinned all the messages, especially Noble, and Rice took over as captain in his latter time. They underpinned all the messages that the manager was sending down on the training pitch. And they were a big thing. That core's gone now. All of these players are no longer at the football club. Fabianski's come back to the club. But all of those players
that was a core.
Are gone. And I think that core's missing at West Ham a little bit now.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
They're one of a number of clubs who probably lack leaders.
Yeah, because of the numbers of calls, we're going to take a break early. And the other side of 10:30, we're going to take your calls and hear from West Ham fans. Nuno Espirito Santo is in there now. He says he wants to fix the disconnect between the fans and the club. I'll ask you this morning. Is he on a hiding to nothing? Let us know. 03717 223344. You're already lining up, and that's fine by us. Come on and join us. Myself, Alex Crook, and Stuart Pearce, live in Talk Sport. 03717 223344.
create like we did in the goal and balance situations, take advantage of the speed that we have, but overall being more compact, close to each other, simple.
So the West Ham faithful are now hopeful of a turnaround after only one win in the league so far this season. Nicky Hawkins, founder of West Ham TV, says it was clear Graham Potter had to go.
We changed a couple of things at Forest and we got a result. But things just went downhill very quickly from there, and I think he'd lost the players.
Now, frustration for Thomas Frank. Dominic Solanke's had minor ankle surgery. Some positives, though. The Spurs boss doesn't expect the striker to be out for long. Tonight they're away in the Arctic Circle, facing Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. At the same time, a special one returns to Stamford Bridge. Jose Mourinho's Benfica take on Chelsea, live on talkSPORT from 7. He told us blue won't be the colour, though.
Will be my Chelsea until start. Will be my Chelsea after the game. During the game, that's my Benfica, and the only thing that matters.
And reports suggest Leeds winger Dan James has suffered a significant injury in training. Leeds host Spurs this Saturday lunchtime. That's live and exclusive here on talkSPORT.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the reaction this morning. Unbelievable. Every day when Simon's on, it never fails to amaze me how many of you want to take part in the show with us. This morning is no exception. Alex alongside Stuart in studio, Alex Crook and Stuart Pearce. 03717 223344. They played last night. Nuno's first game in charge. They went to Everton. They got a point. They left. It was 1-1. But West Ham fans, Nuno says he wants to fix the disconnect between the fans and the club. Is he on a hiding to nothing? That's the question. Ryan's a big West Ham fan. He's first up. Ryan, good morning. Thanks for joining us, mate. What do you want to say?
How's it going? I just want to go on to Stuart's comments, if I can, about the stadium.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I heard him say that Upton Park was old and dated. Now, I'm a West Ham fan. I've been a season ticket holder all my life until a couple of years ago. Now, Stuart, to me, is a legend at West Ham, but I find that a bit of a kick in the teeth to say that about the bowling. It's not old or dated. It had heritage and it had soul and it brought an energy to it that this stadium that we're in now will never have. You know, if you look at the generations of West Ham fans that have come in and out of those turnstiles at the bowling ground, and if you look at the players that have played there, Bobby Moore, Billy Bonds, Paolo Di Canio. Now, like it or not, those people and those players, they left a mark on that stadium, and there's an energy that is left there. And since we have left that ground, you can see in the way that we play, in the way that supporters react to the football, that is what is missing. And I actually think that has been the missing piece to West Ham getting any sort of consistency at all. And I think that any manager that comes, no matter how good or bad they are, I think West Ham is a poison chalice for that reason. I think it is the reason that we have left the stadium that made us a threat. You know, if there was anything about playing West Ham, you were up against it. You were up against that crowd, and it was difficult, and no one really wanted to play there. You hear people on talkSPORT talk about it all the time. Now, Upton Park is a pleasure for teams to come and play.
Yeah.
And I believe that is a huge reason, not the only reason. I'm not stupid enough to think that that's the only reason West Ham aren't kicking on and pushing on, but that is a huge reason. That's why the West Ham is not West Ham as it was before, and is why the fans will always be in the situation that they are in now, and they will never accept the new stadium. They will never accept.
So Ryan, if you're never going to accept it, and others are never going to accept it, Nuno's on a hiding to nothing, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Sure. What would you say to Ryan?
Well, firstly, I don't disrespect any of the history that's gone from Upton Park. That is for sure. You know, I used to hate going there as an away player. I used to love playing there in a West Ham shirt. Make no mistake about that. So I've experienced both. What I would say is because of the financial situation of football nowadays, the club had to go to a bigger stadium, wherever that was. Now, whether the Olympic Stadium's the correct one to go to, or whether the club would have been better off going to a purpose-built stadium that was more football-related, that Crookie has sort of mentioned about earlier, I can see that. But the bottom line is, the club are at the Olympic Stadium. My mentality would be this: if we're going to, and when I say we're, West Ham fans, if you're going to constrict yourself and say, no matter how much history is going to go on in this stadium, we're not going to accept it, you're just constraining yourself, you know, and you're knocking down yourself from the inside almost.
Is that fair, Ryan?
So what I would say to that, I'd also revert back to what Stuart said about what West Ham fans want is a good cup run, 8th, 9th or 10th. So we do not need a 60,000 Olympic stadium to be that team. I look at Crystal Palace and I envy Crystal Palace. They've still got their ground. They play good football. Even though they might float in the bottom half of the table for a couple of years, then they kick on. And they've just got, they have what West Ham, they have a fraction of what West Ham had. They have a fraction of that. We used to be a team, you know, with so much soul, even going back to the Alan Pardew days, you know, even then. And, you know, all West Ham fans want, you're bang on. We want a good cup run, 8th, 9th, 10th. We want to bring some young players through. And every now and then we'll have a bit of a purple patch. We might even kick on for Europe. That is all West Ham fans.
But Ryan, really, I would say, mate, you had that with David Moyes and Stuart Pearce.
Yes, we definitely had it with Stuart Pearce under Harry Redknapp, that's for sure.
In the new stadium. You had that.
Yeah, with Stuart Pearce under Harry Redknapp, that was Upton Park, wasn't it?
No. But you reached the Europa League semi-final, did you not? You won the Conference League, and then very quickly that following season, pretty much the whole fan base turned against David Moyes because they didn't like the football. Do you regret that now?
So what I would say on that, West Ham fans have a lot of respect for David Moyes, and that purple patch which you allude to, those 2-3 years, that was really masking over the cracks, and it was only a matter of time before that was going to fall. And as you know, the performances started getting worse. We started falling down the table, and it wasn't.
Okay.
David Moyes couldn't maintain it. And if he could maintain it, then we would continue to mask over those cracks. However, it couldn't be maintained. And that's not a reflection on David Moyes. That's just a reflection on potentially the ownership getting rid of players like Declan Rice, even though we had to. It's just West Ham aren't the giant that can keep growing and growing.
You've made some very good points. I wonder if Mel, who's another West Ham fan, agrees with you. Nuno's on a hiding to nothing, according to Ryan. Do you agree, Mel?
Well, to be honest with you, look, I mean, I respect Stuart. I love Stuart when he played for West Ham. I personally believe when Alan Irvine and Stuart were there, managing West Ham alongside David Moyes, we had some good times. Soon as Stuart left and Alan left, that's when the performances started to go on the decline. I was a West Ham season ticket holder at Upton Park for years. I was a season ticket holder at London Stadium for 2 years. There's a massive disconnect at the stadium. It's toxic. There's no atmosphere. It's like a library, and we ain't West Ham anymore. We are not West Ham anymore. We've lost that. The fans have lost the passion. It's reflected on the field. But you know what? It's all down to the board. They're penny pinching constantly, picking up players, freebies. We've had 48 strikers in their tenure. 48 strikers, that is ridiculous.
Mel, let me ask you. Nuno says he wants to fix the disconnect between the managerial level and you lot. Are you going to help him do that?
Well, do you know what? I'm going to give Nuno time like I would have given Potter time. He's got to try and bring a bit of unity with the team. But you know what? Ever campaigning for that ball to go. They need to leave. They've taken this club as far as they can take them, and there's no other way apart from them selling up and going and letting the club move forward and give the fans something they really deserve, because there's nothing better than West Ham fans and passionate West Ham fans. Stuart knows that.
Mel, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think David Sullivan at this moment in time wants to sell the football club, regardless of your protests. So with that in mind, is there not a danger that these protests are just having a detrimental impact on the team and the environment? Do you not all need to be united now to get out of the relegation scrap that at the minute you're in?
I get that, and I understand that, and it could reflect on the team. But the fans are sick and tired of the lies and the penny pinching and everything else. And the only way we're going to move forward is by them going. Can't they understand that this club, we're going to be at this club until we die. They're going to be at this club until they sell up. They really don't care about the club.
Would you take a nation state owning your club over what you've got at the moment?
Oh, damn right. Something,
All right.
something different to them.
Mel, thanks for that. James, so many West Ham fans. James, you're the next. What do you want to say on this disconnect, mate, this perceived disconnect between the likes of the management and the support? In other words, Nuno wants to fix it. You're going to try and help him do that?
Morning, Jim. Morning, Stuart. Morning, Crookie.
Morning, James.
There is a disconnect, let's be honest. And I just want to say thank you, Jim, for the platform that you and Simon provide. Because as an ex-owner, Simon, his opinions and dialogue, whether I like them or not, he allows that. And no other owner does that. Our owners haven't got the minerals to engage with us. They don't want to know us. So I think what we would say is that Nuno's come in there, and I think we all like Nuno. He's one of those managers that we've all appreciated what he's done. So he's come in, he's going to inject some excitement. He's trying to bring us on board. But this has started to be a massive rant about our owners, and I want to sidebar that because the first question was, and Stuart nailed it, he said, look, our players have played above their station, right? He's bang on. We're too easy to play against. We can't defend a corner. We make it easier for teams to come to the London Stadium. It's a nightmare, our stadium. But the lack of defending last night, the lack of press and the pressure led to the Everton goal. How many corners? I'm fear for every single corner that happens. So our players previously, how we won the European Cup, basically what happened was our players played above their stations, right? I hope Nuno can get it. I really do. He's got our support. Our players and our manager will always have our support. Our board, nah.
Yeah, what I would say, James, is quite recently the owners met with the fans, didn't they? And took grievances on board, then put out a statement to the effect that they're working on it. Is that not enough?
1,000-word statement.
They are engaging with you, James.
1,000-word statement. It was a joke. I honestly read it and I thought, they don't care about us. They don't want to know us. They haven't got the minerals really to engage with us because they just put out a 1,000-word statement rather than address us as a fan base. I think the rest of the West Ham fans are with me on this. They just don't care for us.
You do hear from them, though, James. I mean, Karen Brady was on one Sunday morning with Henry Winter and Sean Custis.
Wasn't she back in Graham Potter, though?
She was at the time, yeah.
Yeah, and straight away, next thing you know...
But she did say ownerships care. They care.
Yeah, well, it certainly doesn't feel like it. I'm a West Ham fan, Jim, all my life. Doesn't feel like they care at all.
James, listen, thanks for the call. Andrew, you're going to take us to the break. Tell me about this disconnect and how Nuno might go about trying to sort it. Bridge the gap between the likes of his level and you.
Morning, gents. Great show as ever.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, no, I just want to point out the fact that something that was picked up and said before, we don't need this great big London stadium. Just look at the likes of Brighton, Brentford, Palace, just to name a few. Look at the players that played in the West Ham shirt at Upton Park. We don't need this big fancy 60,000 seat stadium. We've never claimed to be a European team. We were happy as we were at Upton Park. That just needed regenerating. That's all it needed doing. And all these lies about going to this stadium to become a European team, I can't see how people can't see it. Non-West Ham fans don't pick up on it, especially you commentators and people on talkSPORT. You cannot see how they've told us they're going to do that, take us to this stadium, and nothing has happened.
Well, you have won a European trophy in this stadium.
Mate, listen, be honest. You said something earlier on, so I wanted to bring that up, and I'm not going to go to it. You can't keep banging on about that. If, in all fairness, that was the worst season we've had so far in the Premier League for a long time, right?
But you won a cup.
Awful.
Champions of Europe, you were saying after that.
Let me finish. You said enough already this morning, right? It was the worst season of football we ever played in the Premier League. That was horrendous. We got absolutely schooled in that final. We had one chance and we scored and we nicked it with Fiorentina. Fiorentina battered us that night. It's no coincidence that as soon as... And I've got to praise that man to next year. There's no coincidence that as soon as Pearce and Irving left that club, the football deteriorated rapidly, instantly. The football, it was horrendous. Last night is an example. Any other manager with that Everton team they'd go and take 3 points off us.
Andrew, I'll jump in. You and I will take us to a break. Here's this. How old are you?
46.
Yeah. You're at the London Stadium, mate, and you ain't moving anytime soon. You'd concede that, wouldn't you? That's where you're going to be playing your football.
Mate,
by the time you're 50, by the time you're 56, by the time you're 60, West Ham will probably play their home games at London Stadium. Is it not time to embrace it and try somehow to get on with it?
Mate, we'll always buy a season ticket. We'll always turn up. We will always do that. We support whoever the manager is. We just need to stop being lied to by this outfit that's running this club. That's all we need.
They would push back on that, but Andrew, I take your comments, and we appreciate the time you've given us this morning. West Ham, the stadium problem. Stuart, it's a stadium problem. It's never going to go away. Very briefly, Stuart.
Well, I would say this. The London Stadium houses 60-odd thousand people, fair to say. If you regressed and went to a 40,000, how are you going to tell 20,000 West Ham season ticket holders, oh, by the way, you can't come anymore?
Yeah. No, good luck, because you've got your work cut out. We're coming up to 10 to 11 this Tuesday morning. Jim White, Alex Crook, Stuart Pearce. We're live in talkSPORT, live in your telly as well. Wherever you want to watch it, you can find us. It is Tuesday morning, almost out of September, almost into October, the 30th of September. Where is the month gone? We will finish this hour on a West Ham basis in as much as Graham Potter. Did we see it coming? I'm being asked by a number of people, messages coming in, 810, 89. Did you guys not see it coming? Or like most West Ham fans, when you heard him speak about going to Everton last night with West Ham, as he did do at the tail end of last week, did you think Potter's still in situ and he'll carry on? That's in spite of 6 wins and 25 at West Ham. Stuart, Alex, when we did hear Potter, as we did, talk about going to Everton last night, the upshot was he went, Nuno went. Did you at any time fear for him of late, Stuart?
Job-wise,
yeah.
Graham? Yes. If truth be known, I don't think the results were as solid as they need to be. You normally tell when the fans start pointing the finger at the board, the manager's in big trouble. That alleviates, well, I wouldn't say it alleviates the problems at West Ham, because as we've heard from the callers, the fans have got a mentality shaped on the board and not wanting the board there potentially. But without a doubt, I don't think it comes as a surprise to any of us, really, that they decided to have a change of manager to give it an uplift. I'm a little bit disappointed. I want to see as many English managers managing in the Premier League as possible, because I know when maybe next summer comes, England might be recruiting another manager again, and we need a groundswell of English managers available for the job interview.
So in the meantime, where does he land next? Or, as Stuart might suggest, does he hang about until Tuchel says goodbye?
Listen, I think if you tried to promote Graham Potter to England manager now, there'd be a massive pushback from the majority of England fans. It was a strange one with Graham, because he waited a long time for seemingly the perfect job to come back into. And West Ham never felt like the perfect fit. I think it's a difficult job for any manager. It's going to be a difficult job for Nuno because of that disconnect, because you've got so many different people who want to have their say. You've got David Sullivan, you've got Karen Brady, you've got the Czech guy who's got a percentage as well. Mark Noble has his say in terms of recruitment. So it's hard for any manager to prosper. That's before you get into the fans' protests. Where does he pitch up next? I'd be surprised if it was in the Premier League. And I think the question you have to ask yourself about Graham Potter now, was he a success at Brighton because he is a top coach? Or was he a success at Brighton because the infrastructure there is so good, and because Tony Bloom is a genius and Paul Barber is brilliant at what he does?
Yeah.
Because you look at what's happened to Graham Potter since. Chelsea, he looked a million miles out of his depth. West Ham, he never really looked comfortable at all. And the win percentage, I think, is second only to Avram Grant in terms of lowest number of wins as a Premier League manager compared to matches taken charge of. So at the moment, if you're a Premier League club looking for a new manager, I don't see how you make a case for Graham Potter being near the top of the list.
Much, Stuart? His stock. And have you ever seen him work, incidentally?
No, I've never been on the grass and watched him work. Obviously, we've come up against these teams, and they caused us a problem at West Ham playing Brighton when he was there. Tactically, very good, overloads in certain areas, very clever, intelligent coach. What I would say, it wouldn't surprise me if he turned up again, Jim, abroad. I may be wrong here, whether he's still got an appetite for the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he went and turned up. He's been abroad beforehand, hasn't he? Before Brighton, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a route others are taking.
Yeah, exactly.
that. Steve Cooper's at Brøndby now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
doing well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did turn up and took a job abroad to get that self-confidence back again, maybe.
We shall see. Graham Potter, we wish him well. Decent man. Jose Mourinho returns to the Bridge tonight. Remember him? Now, I'll put this out to Chelsea fans. We want to hear from you in as many numbers as we have from the West Ham fans. 03717 223344. If Mourinho was a special one, what's Maresca? Give us a call.
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 11 a.m, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Arsenal have confirmed William Saliba's 5-year contract extension, keeping him at the club till 2030. Our chief football correspondent Alex Crook understands Saliba will be on 250 grand a week.
Not too shabby. I think Bukayo Saka potentially is in line for an even bigger deal to reflect his worth to the football club, because his contract is up in 2027 as Saliba's was.
Arsenal host Olympiacos in the Champions League live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Tonight, Jose Mourinho's Benfica are at Chelsea live from 7 p.m. Liverpool's tricky trip to Turkey over on talkSPORT 2. They go to Galatasaray. Stuart Pearce has told White and Jordan Nuno Espirito Santo must bring back some Moyes-era consistency to West Ham.
Certainly the first half. All of a sudden, West Ham look very fragile. I'm talking from a playing aspect. Once they get their tails up a little bit and get a little bit of joy in the game, all of a sudden they look at a totally different team.
Jared Bowen's second-half strike got West Ham a point at Everton in Nuno's first game in charge. Aaron Ramsey's back in the Wales squad for the first time in 13 months. Wales face England in a friendly live on talkSPORT next Thursday before hosting Belgium in a World Cup qualifier. Serbia have been fined almost 75 grand for their fans' discriminatory behaviour during that 5-0 loss to England in Belgrade last month. FIFA also cite the use of laser pens. Serbia will play their next home game with 20% reduced capacity. And former Premier League referee Mark Halsey's told talkSPORT there's nothing wrong with VAR, but we need a change at the PGMOL.
I think we've got some good referees out there. It's the way they are coached, it's the way they are trained, it's the way they are handled, it's the way they're managed. Some referees need an arm around them, need a bit of loving, some need a kick up the backside.
You can watch the full interview with Mark Halsey on the talkSPORT YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
Hamas is reviewing Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza, and more than 120 workers at an oil plant in North Lincolnshire are being made redundant. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Mostly dry and settled across England and Wales, with some sunny spells. Across most of Scotland and Northern Ireland, cloudier with some outbreaks of rain and brisk winds.
Good morning, everybody. 3 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's Jim White, Alex Crook and Stuart Pearce. We're all live on talkSPORT, coming to you live on your TV as well. Samsung, amongst others, even Prime Video. You can watch the show wherever you look, and that is fine by us. We're coming to you live from the 17th floor of the News Building at London Bridge. A lot to get through. Going to be hearing from Brighton boss Fabian Hürzeler very shortly. Just before we came on air, for about 15 minutes, Alex and I had a chat with Hürzeler about how well Brighton have been doing of late, going to Stamford Bridge at the weekend, win by 3-1, amongst other things. And further down the line, we'll ask the question about Manchester United. Is the sentiment around Amorim beginning to turn? We'll get to that, but we'll dwell on this, because the man returns to Stamford Bridge tonight. Jose Mourinho goes back to Stamford Bridge, and of course, it's a huge night for Chelsea in the Champions League. Mourinho these days at Benfica, having been seemingly here, there and everywhere. It's Chelsea-Benfica in the Champions League tonight. That's live on talkSPORT. Live on talkSPORT 2, incidentally. Galatasaray-Liverpool. But live on talkSPORT, Chelsea-Benfica. So he returns. The special one returns. Just before we came back on air there, I said to Stuart, is Mourinho the type of manager, Stuart, you'd like to have played for? And you were very positive with your answer.
Yeah, definitely. I look at the likes of John Terry and Lampard and Drogba and think to myself, have they got a real affection to their manager? I would say 100%, I would. And on top of that as well, I've been to watch him coach for a few days out in Inter Milan when he was there, and at Chelsea as well. And he's the sort of manager I think can get more out of you, and he won't fluff around. He'll give it you straight, and I'm that type of player that would respond to that.
So is he the same guy now as he once was when he pitched up at Chelsea? How is he returning tonight to Stamford Bridge? The legend or a completely faded force? This is Mourinho going into this one.
Chelsea is a winning machine that had in the past 2 or 3 years a moment without trophies. But Chelsea won something before my time, and then we start winning, and then my team kept winning, and then transformation, new teams, new coaches, more trophies, European trophies, the biggest one of them, the Champions League. So Chelsea is a winning machine. You know, I'm the biggest one until somebody wins for. These are faits divers, but not really.
Alex, how do you see him going back in there to Stamford Bridge tonight? Is he the legend that Chelsea fans tell us he is, or is he something of a faded force?
I think probably both, Jim, in fairness. He is a legend for what he's done in the course of his managerial career, not just at Chelsea, but Stuart's mentioned Inter Milan, that incredible Champions League triumph there. I was actually in the crowd at Old Trafford when Porto beat Manchester United in the Champions League, and he did that famous run down the touchline. I didn't know much about him then. I certainly did afterwards, and he went on to win the Champions League with Porto, which I think, again, shouldn't be understated as an achievement. But you look at his recent body of work, it was a bit of a circus in Fenerbahce. It looks like it could be a bit of a circus at Benfica, because I think Mourinho, rather than being the top coach that he once was, he's now someone who deals in sound bites and someone who plays to the crowd when he gets the opportunity. It's no surprise that he turned it on as he did back at Stamford Bridge yesterday. But is he ever going to reach the heights that he did previously? I think the answer is probably no.
Yeah. And we remember what happened to him when he was at Roma. And what happened thereafter when they lost the Europa League final that night to Sevilla, and the antics that went on in the car park with Anthony Taylor. And I know that still leaves a bad taste in the mouths of many. Do you think we should park that up, Stuart, and think, nah, hang on, you got to look at what this guy has achieved. Look at his body of work.
I personally do. You know, I've come through the coaching badges and management and God knows what else. And I'll tell you what, there's very few that can hold a candle to his ability to bring trophies to varying clubs. He's got an incredible CV, make no mistake about that. And when people were writing him off, and we go back to Manchester United, and he finished second with Manchester United and won 2 trophies that season, and then he turned around and said, this is an incredible achievement for this football club. And everyone, yeah, all right, Jose, stop playing your own ego, you know. He was right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he was right.
Yeah.
And I just revere what he's done. I really do. And I never lose track of his CV, to be quite honest with you. And I take the point, maybe the diamond's not as shiny as it used to be, but my goodness, look at his CV.
So he says Chelsea are a winning machine, and Chelsea fans will say, yeah, very much so. Maresca has won things already. Have they taken to him, Alex?
I think the answer is probably no. From the Chelsea fans that I speak to, certainly there were a lot of doubts up until the final weeks of last season, when they sort of snuck into the Champions League right at the end and won that Conference League, which was par, I think. You know, a club of Chelsea's stature shouldn't really be playing in the Conference League. If they are in it, I think they have to win it. I won't try and denigrate their achievements of the Club World Cup, but it was a Club World Cup where there was no Premier League champion. Liverpool weren't there. Barcelona weren't there. Having said that, they beat the European champion in PSG in the final. But you look at this season, I've been really underwhelmed with Chelsea so far. I thought they were potentially a dark horse for a title challenge, and it hasn't happened. Even the games they have won, barring West Ham, and again, with no disrespect, everybody's beating West Ham at this moment in time. That they've been fortunate to get the points where they have. I don't necessarily lay the blame solely at Maresca's door. I think the squad is too young, too reliant on Cole Palmer. They need some experienced heads in there. I don't think it's a coincidence they keep getting players sent off and keep making naive mistakes, because that is what happens from a young team. And this, you know, you look at the team that Jose had, Drogba, Lampard, Cech, Carvalho, Robin. There were leaders all over the pitch. I don't see leaders now, Stuart, at Chelsea.
I mean, are they Premier League contenders, Stuart? Are they Champions League contenders? Before you answer that, Jamie Carragher, The Telegraph. Chelsea have achieved the near impossible since Roman Abramovich sold up. And he goes on to say, Chelsea are not being judged to the same standard they were under Abramovich because they're hiding behind a prolonged transitional phase. How long is the post-Abramovich rebuild going to last? Has he got a point there, Stuart? How long is this going to last?
You know what? From the outside, I'm looking at Chelsea that have gone out in the transfer market and just had, this might be a little bit harsh, a scattergun effect of bringing as many as we possibly can through the door, young, that might improve. And I thought to myself, well, what a disastrous way to approach things. And then all of a sudden, they win 2 trophies at the back end of this year. So I think to myself, who do you think's going to win the Premier League this year? I thought Liverpool, and still do. But I thought Chelsea might be chasing them down and chasing hard. But there is a level of inconsistency there with young players. You never know what Chelsea's going to turn up. I covered the Fulham game when they played Fulham at home, and it was probably only a disallowed goal, which was controversial, against Josh King that enabled them to actually go on and win the game, I think. I think the best they could have got is a point out the game if that goal would have stood.
Right. Are we judging them to a lower standard than we should be, Stuart?
Well, listen, it's like we judge Manchester United now on the glory days. We judge Chelsea on the Mourinho days, bringing trophies to it, and you've pitched them in up there, and it's very difficult to say, well, hang on a minute, maybe they are just finish 6th, finish 7th. They're not. They pay enough money out in transfer fees to actually be challenging for the title. They've got 8 points at the moment from 6 games. They're level on points with Everton, Brighton, Fulham, Leeds United. That's not good enough to challenge for the title this year.
And we're judging them as well, Alex, on the £1 billion spend.
Yeah, actually, Simon and I have had debates about this, even going right back to the start of last season. I think I described Chelsea as a circus, and he wasn't having that analogy, and he said they're going to have a better season than many people think. Maybe they did, but if you spend £1 billion and you still haven't got a goalkeeper, for me, who is fit for purpose in terms of challenging for the Premier League, you still have got problems at the heart of your defence, and you haven't really got a leader in your defence, then I think you've spent money badly.
I mean, the question is, where are they going into this game tonight against Benfica? They go in with back-to-back league defeats to Manchester United and Brighton when they ended both games with 10 men. So where are they going into this? Here's Maresca.
To be negative, this morning the club showed me about the stats that, in the last 6 months, we lost 5 games, 4 of them with red card. So for sure we like to win games, there is no doubt. But also the reality is that there is not any pressure. The pressure we have is the pressure that we know that being at Chelsea as a player, as a manager, you need to win games, no doubt. But at the same moment, you have the reality is that for different reasons, injury and red card. We lost 5 games in almost 6 months, but at the same time, I think it's something not bad.
You have a Maresca, Stuart, at this stage. What do you think of what he's done so far?
It's an interesting one. If you had asked me that in the summer, I would have thought he's growing something here. 2 bits of silverware, maybe a good Premier League season and another good season coming up in front of us. And all of a sudden, I've seen them live once and I've been underwhelmed against Fulham. And the results at this moment are a little bit hit and miss. I've got doubts. I thought they were going to be the ones challenging Liverpool this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm seeing that at the moment.
Do you share those doubts, Alex?
Yeah, I think I do. And actually, I feel for Maresca in some respects, because obviously there's a clear philosophy in terms of recruitment. He wanted a senior, experienced central defender in the summer window. He didn't get one. But I guess the question, Stuart, is should he have pushed harder? Should he have challenged the sporting directors, the recruitment department, the owners to deliver what he wanted from a position of strength because he's just won the Club World Cup?
Well, there's a kid that plays across town in South London called Mark Gahey that would have been a brilliant I don't know whether they put money down for him, but if I was Chelsea, Man United, you name it, this is the kid you want coming through the door. So he doesn't have to move home if he wants to stay in London. Would have been perfect.
Such a good story, especially at this moment. Chelsea going in against Benfica tonight in the Champions League. Jose Mourinho going there to Stamford Bridge. He knows the place inside out, but going there as Benfica head coach. So Mourinho would dearly love to beat Chelsea, and Maresca would dearly love to beat Benfica. So who's going to come out on top? I mean, in your view, are you on your feet tonight, Chelsea fans, when Mourinho appears in the stadium? And also, if he returns tonight as a special one, where in your eyes is Maresca? Give us a call, 03717 223344 81089. It is Tuesday morning, some massive games tonight. You will not miss a trick on talkSPORT. Chelsea against Benfica in the Champions League, live on talkSPORT. Live on talkSPORT 2, Galatasaray against Liverpool. Liverpool going into the Lion's Den there. Always is when you go to Istanbul, and Liverpool are doing just that. That's live on talkSPORT 2. We're asking the question this morning, as Mourinho heads back to Stamford Bridge, how is he returning to the football club in your eyes, Chelsea fans? And if he is a special one, what is Enzo Maresca in your eyes? 03717 223344. Where are Chelsea after winning the Club World Cup? Well, co-owner Todd Bully told me exactly where he thought they are.
I think the boys have shown that they are a force to be reckoned with, and we knew all along in the value of the project. But we're hopeful that every day we wake up, the odds are that Chelsea is going to win something big.
And they did just that, did they not? The Club World Cup. But what are they going to win next? And are they going to win anything anytime soon? That is a big question. Chelsea fans getting in touch. We knew they would. Mark is a big Chelsea fan. Good morning, Mark. How do you see the returning Mourinho tonight, Mark?
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, guys. Great show as always. Three very quick points. Number one, we haven't won a championship for 50 years, 50 years, until Jose turned up. And then we won one. And guess what? Next year we won it again. He is the greatest individual figure ever to grace our football ground and deserves nothing but our undying respect. Number two, anyone who's ever run a company like Simon knows that you look at other companies that you love and you think, wow, I'd like a bit of that. And then you meet people from those companies who come to you and say, everything that's happening at this company is down to me, which is exactly what's happened with these FDs, these sporting directors that we've got. And clearly, it has nothing to do with it, I think, at Brighton. It's just down to Bloom. And what they're doing to our club is ridiculous. Number three, Maresca, they hired a beginner. They wanted a yes man, so they needed a beginner. And now he's overachieved massively. And now, of course, he's behaving like a beginner because he's a beginner. Leave him alone. It's not his fault.
Okay, listen, we take your points. Your line's breaking up a bit, Mark, but thank you for those. We'll dwell on them in a second. Jason, another big Chelsea fan. Where do you see Mourinho as he returns tonight then, Jason?
Well, he's a legend, isn't he? As the other caller just sort of said, we hadn't won anything like, real significance, i.e. like the league. And then he went and done it back to back. So, and then went and come back and won it again. So I think that considering what he's achieved with the club, he should be given like that kind of status. With Maresca, yeah, okay, he may have overachieved last year, but it keeps on getting brought up about we lost to Man United and we lost to Brighton. We had players sent off in both of those games, which I know it happened, but potentially if we had kept the 11 players, we was winning against Brighton when we had 11, and they only scored 2 in the last few minutes. So I think there's a bit of an overpour on that one, to be honest with you. Who else are you going to get? If Maresca goes, who would you get? Because if Mourinho come back, would you back him to do better?
Well, I'll ask you one, Jason. Do you think Maresca overachieved last season?
I think he achieved what was asked of him. So, it depends on which way you want to look at it. He was given, everyone expected us to win the Conference League, so we done it. So he hasn't overachieved there. He's done what was expected, and to get into the top 4, to get into the Champions League position, that's a really good achievement.
So take Jamie Carragher's point, do you judge Chelsea to a lower standard these days?
I don't listen to what Jamie Carragher says because he's still got the ump that he got turned inside out by Zola all those years ago. That's why he has the pop at Chelsea all the time.
I thought it was a fair point, though, Jason. I thought it was a fair point. How long is the post-Abramovich rebuild going to last? How long, Jason?
To be honest with you, I really wouldn't even know the answer to that. But when it comes to Carragher, I don't. If anyone who's got any kind of sense, I'd listen to. When it comes to Carragher, he always mentions about how much money Chelsea has spent. I haven't really heard him park up much regarding how much Liverpool have spent. And he never really seems to mention how much money, although we have spent, that we've brought in as well. So balance it out a little bit and go, yeah, we've spent a hell of a lot of money, but we've recouped a lot. But he seems to forget how much money that Liverpool spent this summer.
The point I was making about Carragher, Alex, was, Jason, thank you. I think it's completely feasible to think of Chelsea being top 4. But now it doesn't seem to be that way.
No, it's almost like top 4 is a bonus.
Yeah.
And before, top 4 would have been the bare minimum. So I do think Jeremy Carragher's got a point. And just going back to what that last caller was saying about the last 2 games, he's sort of trying to suggest, I think, that it's unlucky, the red cards. It was an absolute calamity from Sanchez at Manchester United, and it was a poor challenge from Chalobah after he'd been played into a problem by a young teammate. They've had the joint most cards in the Premier League this season, so it isn't bad luck. That comes down to the fact they've got a discipline problem borne out, in my opinion, on the fact that they're reliant on too many young players.
Declan, good morning to you, big Chelsea fan. If Mourinho was the special one, and still is, maybe, what's Maresca in your eyes?
Hi, Jim. Absolute pleasure to be on the show. Big fan. I think Maresca is like what I would compare him to would be Avram Grant. I think he makes too many mistakes. I think he's not a coach that makes decisions on the game. I think the last 2 decisions he's made against Manchester United and against Brighton were absolutely crazy, the substitutions. And I think the 3rd goal that we gave away in the game Saturday sums up everything. 2-1 down, minute left, and we pass the ball out from the back. And Brighton score. And that's the problem that I genuinely have with the man. I'm not a fan of his. I don't want to come on here being disrespectful to him, because that's not fair. But I just don't think he is. And I think we're looking at a different Chelsea. And if I can make one point about Jose Mourinho, and I love the man, Jim, but when he came into Chelsea, the team was set up for him. The players were there. And I think he done well to win the 2 leagues. He done fantastic coming back. I hope the fans give him a fantastic time tonight. But I think we're looking at a different Chelsea. And I don't like Jamie Carragher. I think he has a bang office the whole time, but he has some good points, what he has said lately, to be honest with you.
Okay, Declan. Of course. Many points to dwell upon. What's your take on that? When Mourinho went there, Stuart, it was all set up for him. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, if the team haven't won the league for God knows how long, 50-odd years, and he comes and delivers a back-to-back, you've got to turn around and say, set up or not, that is some achievement.
It was set up in as much as they had the Abramovich money.
Indeed. Good point. But the bottom line is he changed a generation of coaches' mentalities, I think, Jose. You know, I mean, we spoke off the break. Klopp, him, Alex Ferguson of recent years, to name but, 3. Wenger. They come in and not only did they deliver good things for their football clubs, they changed the mentality of the next generation of coaches, I think. You know what I mean? In Mourinho's organisation, the things that you heard off the pitch, his level of organisation, prepping for training, stuff like that, let alone how he set his team up to play winning football.
It doesn't say a lot for the managers who were in situ at that time here, Stuart, in terms of their organisational skills.
Well, listen, these
were there a lot of mediocre people working in the game at that time?
No, I wouldn't be detrimental to the ones working in the game. That's just how high the standard was when the likes of Wenger come through the door, when the likes of Alex Ferguson, got United going. They just pushed the bar up. Pep Guardiola, they pushed the bar up for coaching.
Yeah. Don't miss it tonight. Chelsea against Benfica. Mourinho goes back to Stamford Bridge. Maresca would love to beat Mourinho's Benfica, would he not? It's live on talkSPORT, and so too Galatasaray Liverpool. Champions League live on talkSPORT 2. What a night ahead.
A point in the bank, but plenty of work to do for Nuno. His opening game in the West Ham dugout ended in a 1-1 draw with Everton, live on talkSPORT. But the new Hammers boss says there are encouraging signs.
Try to create, like we did in the goal, and balance situations, take advantage of the speed that we have, but overall being more compact, close to each other, simple.
So the West Ham faithful are now hopeful of a turnaround after only one win in the league so far this season. Nicky Hawkins, founder of West Ham TV, says it was clear Graham Potter had to go.
We changed a couple of things at Forest and we got a result. But, things just went downhill very quickly from there, and I think he'd lost the players.
Now, frustration for Thomas Frank. Dominic Solanke's had minor ankle surgery. Some positives, though. The Spurs boss doesn't expect the striker to be out for long. Tonight they're away in the Arctic Circle, facing Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. At the same time, a special one returns to Stamford Bridge. Jose Mourinho's Benfica take on Chelsea, live on talkSPORT from 7. He told us blue won't be the colour, though.
Will be my Chelsea until start. Will be my Chelsea after the game. During the game, that's my Benfica, and the only thing that matters.
And reports suggest Leeds winger Dan James has suffered a significant injury in training. Leeds host Spurs this Saturday lunchtime. That's live and exclusive here on talkSPORT.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
It's that time. Matt Gibson joins us from BetMGM. We're going to talk about some of the sporting events and the odds round and about them. Matt, good morning to you. Alex and Stuart both with me here in studio, live and talkSPORT. Everton won, West Ham won. What was your take?
Yeah, good morning, fellas. 11-4 the draw last night, Jim. I was all over Everton, and not for the first time have proved very wrong with my predictions. But I think West Ham could take a lot of positives from that, going 1-0 down away from home and somehow find a way to get a point. It's obviously their problems are much beyond last night. Nuno's been brought in to do a job to ultimately steady the ship and then keep them in the division. Just looking at their next 5, fellas. Arsenal away this weekend, then they've got an international break, quite a long international break, and then they played Brentford at home, Leeds away, Newcastle at home, Burnley at home. I know it's not going to be done by the next sort of 5-6 weeks, but just targeting those fixtures, Arsenal away will obviously be very tough, but those fixtures, fellas, they've got to get something from those, haven't they? The third favourites, 27-20 to go down. That's shorter than Leeds, Sunderland, Brentford, Forest. They've got to do a bit, haven't they, in those fixtures in and around the international break?
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal's difficult, almost a write-off, but then they did win there under Graham Potter last season, but you can't see history repeating. Those 3 games you mentioned, Newcastle's tough, but Leeds, Burnley, they're huge. Brentford, I think, was the other one you mentioned. So Nuno will be targeting points from those games, because the issue that the established teams have got this season is the 3 that have come up are very competitive. I predicted Sunderland would stay up before a ball was kicked. I'll stand by that, and I think Leeds and Burnley have given themselves a chance as well.
I've always liked you, Crookie, saying Leeds will stay up.
I didn't go that far. I said you've got a chance.
Well, thanks for giving us a chance anyway, mate.
Let's move it on. This is Leeds United loving, Matt, all for you. Champions League tonight, you heard us talking about Mourinho going back to Stamford Bridge, of course. Maresca, now in charge of Chelsea, wants to beat Mourinho's Benfica. Of course he does, live in talkSPORT. Galatasaray, Liverpool. Stuart, I think you're working on that later, are you, mate?
Yes, looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that one. And why not? It'll be a powder keg of a fixture. It's live in talkSPORT too. What are you thinking, Matt?
Yeah, there's certainly some decent fixtures tonight. For the outrights, gents, Arsenal and Liverpool top of the market, 6-1 with Barcelona. So really decent English representation at the business end of the market. The 3 games tonight. Spurs go to Bodo Glimt. That's a rematch of the Europa semis last year. Spurs got off to a good start against Villarreal. They're 11-10 to go away and win. I think they will do. Liverpool, Galatasaray. Galatasaray got thumped, didn't they? 5-1 to Frankfurt first in the first game week, and Liverpool get past Atletico. Liverpool 11-20. We think they'll go there and do the business, and then Chelsea Benfica is probably the one that catches the eye the most. Both teams coming off losses in the first game week. Chelsea's a little bit more respectable, losing away to Bayern, and then ultimately I think the loss to Karabag in the Champions League is what cost the Benfica boss his job, and ultimately the return of Joe. Both teams to score in all 3 games tonight, 27-10. But I think the English treble is very much on, fellas. Just over 4-1, 17-4 for that. I think that's pretty close to come in. I don't know if you think or what English side could potentially let that down.
I'm wondering what Liverpool are getting into when they go to a place like that tonight, Stuart. I mean, they know the atmosphere will be manic. Of course it will. The best way to shut them up, score against them.
I think that will be the toughest game of the evening for the English sides, without a doubt. As I say, as you rightly say, it's a tough place to go and play. They're going on the back of a defeat at the weekend. How much will that play into it, and the travel aspects and all of those type of things?
Yeah. You take Liverpool to win there?
I do at a squeeze, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't.
They're actually the shortest price, gents, of the English teams. They're 11-20. That's the shortest of the lot. So we think Liverpool will. Certainly, the odds are saying Liverpool should bang that one in. But it's interesting that you say, with all those factors taken into consideration, could be a struggle.
Yeah. Do you think Chelsea beat Benfica, Alex?
I've gone for a draw. I can just see Mourinho getting something on his return. No Cole Palmer. I think Spurs is the tap in for me, and I think they're odds against to go and win in Bodo Glimt. They did it last year in the Europa League, and if you're a team with serious ambitions of qualifying for the Champions League, then you've got to be going to places like that and winning. I think they will.
Yeah. The Championship odds, have they shifted since the start of the season, Matt?
Very much so, fellas. The biggest one is Middlesbrough, 25-1 to win the division before a ball was kicked. Now right into 4-1, second favourites to win the whole thing outright. Rob Edwards in charge there. He's done it, or got promoted with Luton, so knows how to get out of this division. But it's super competitive, right? And there's 4 games that I think really take the eye tonight. Borough play Stoke, that's first versus third. Sheffield United have struggled to get off the mark, but they have done eventually with Chris Wilder in charge. They play Southampton, again, a team that was tipped for good things that hasn't quite clicked yet. Bristol City take on Ipswich, 4th versus 12th there, and then Leicester Wrexham. All eyes are on Wrexham before a ball was kicked, and I think Leicester will be bang there in May. Fellas, I know it's an awful question, but I don't know how much of the Championship you've seen. Who's going to be thereabouts in the shake-up there? Because the odds are just all over the place, and we know it's so competitive to get out of that division.
It's a brutal division, Stuart.
I would say, having managed in that division, keep your money in your pocket. Honestly, I would. I know you don't want to hear that, but
yeah.
But you can get some good odds out there because you can probably pick up on a team. It's such an unforgiving season.
I would love Middlesbrough to go up.
Yeah, so
I would love that. Then you get and Sunderland to stay up alongside Newcastle, and then that northeast area is bouncing.
Yeah, well, that took me about 3 days to get to Newcastle on Sunday. But yeah, the reason I'd like Borough to go up is because of Rob Edwards. You know, I think he did a phenomenal job at Luton. Obviously went badly, had the Tom Lockyer situation to deal with, and a few Borough fans were sceptical when he went in, but I think already he's proved them wrong.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much indeed. Visit betmgm.co.uk, download the app, 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
You know, the Sheffield clubs don't have their problems to seek, of course. Sheffield United, can they get going under Chris Wilder? I think they might. Sheffield Wednesday, but all the talk is more off the field than on it, although Sheffield Wednesday is struggling on the field as well. But off it, failure to pay players or staff could well result in further sanctions from the EFL, which has already imposed 5 embargoes on the club. and the latest embargo, Stuart, in relation to debt still owed to another club for unpaid transfers and to other football creditors. I mean, if September's payday is missed, and it's expected that will be the case, it will be the 5th month in the past 7 when those affiliated to the club have not been paid on time. And of course, we're not just talking about players, Stuart. We're talking about backroom staff. We're talking about people that work in the kitchens and elsewhere. And it ain't on, and yet it carries on. And you wonder how it's going to sort itself out anytime soon. We realise that interested parties in buying the club from Daifon Chansiri, the owner, but the EFL, as I understand it, still has no power to intervene or take control of this matter.
Jim, I wish I could sit here and say and just give you an opinion based on opinion. My 7 months at Nottingham Forest back in 2014-15, 4 of those 7 months the owner didn't pay the wages on time. And as a manager, you've got people knocking on your door, not just the players, but you've also got people that work for the club that need mortgages paid and whatever. And it's so demotivating when that type of thing happens. It really is. And you're trying to almost protect the ownership as well. I'm chasing the ownership and saying, look, why is wages not being paid? Not just for the players. The players can probably suffer a late payment, but people can't, that work for the club.
What did you get when you pushed them? Like, show us the money. What did you get? Wow. Because Barry Bannon said last week, there's now really no point in trying.
Yeah, well, you just get an excuse in many ways. And to be fair, we were fortunate at Forest. Eventually, the money was paid a couple of days later on occasions. But 4 out of 7 months is unacceptable for a club of that magnitude, and more so for people that, need that money to pay a mortgage, that work for the club, maybe in the ticket office, maybe as a steward, wherever it may be.
I mean, you hope it gets sorted. Like the Forest situation, Marinakis is in there. It's a completely different club. And they're talking about ambition and God knows what. So it's changed. I mean, it's very hard to see how any of us can give Sheffield Wednesday fans any joy in this at the moment. We tried Daifon Chansiri. We call him up. We do call him up, Sheffield Wednesday fans, and he puts me onto the media department. So he passes a buck. He doesn't want to speak, and he shuts me down. I've spoken to him in the past, and he's a difficult customer. Where do you think it ends, Alex?
I wish I had the answer, Jim. Sheffield Wednesday, one of the grand old clubs in English football, but there were images on social media at the weekend of the food kiosks at Hillsborough being closed, I assume because staff are not being paid and don't want to run them. Fans don't want to put any more money over the counter into Chansiri's pocket. The stadium, even when they beat Leeds in the League Cup, which should have been a really historic night, was half empty. And I think it's sad to see. I'm disappointed in the EFL, to be honest, because what is the point in just keep slapping embargoes on Sheffield Wednesday? It's clearly not having any impact on Chansiri at all. And I would like to think that at some point they can find a way to intervene in this situation. There's a game tonight, Sheffield Wednesday away from home in Birmingham. They'll inevitably lose that game. And there is a suggestion that after that game, the players may refuse to train. They may effectively go on strike in protest at these unpaid wages, and I don't think anyone would blame them.
You hope it doesn't come to that, but it could end up being a similar situation to Reading, Stuart, where the then owner held out for a bigger price. Eventually, a deal was done, but right at the 11th hour.
Well, listen, the losers in all this are always the fans, and that's the sad thing. And, so many clubs, fans call for a change of ownership, and sometimes we're left with what we've got. And the bottom line is the fans are the ones at the end of it that have to pick the tab up, because they're in for a lifetime of this.
Exactly. We will try Mr. Chansiri again sooner than later, and we'll see where it goes. It's Jim White, Alex Crook, Stuart Pearce, live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
And this Saturday sees a pivotal moment for Scottish boxing as Collins takes on Lorente for the EBU European Featherweight title. And later that night, two of the most dangerous men in combat sports, Mike Perry and Jeremy Stevens, in bare-knuckle boxing. You can watch it live this Saturday on DAZN. On the subject of boxing, from the football pitch to the boxing ring, we're going to be joined right here in this studio before we go today by two individuals embarking on that very task, all in the name of charity. Former Spurs midfielder David Bentley and former Chelsea man Jody Morris are going to be getting in the ring very, very soon at the Grosvenor Hotel in Mayfair in London, no less, on October the 18th, fighting each other. How lovely is that? Hopefully they won't be fighting in this studio today, but that's what they intend to do on October the 18th. Stuart, we'll watch with interest as to how that works out.
Should be interesting, I think. I wouldn't have had them two down as a pair that want to get in a boxing ring against each other, but it'd be an interesting affair.
Exactly. Now, you, on the other hand, against somebody, I would watch. No, we'll see how that works out. David Bentley up against Jody Morris. The boys are in the building and they'll be in here soon. I wonder where our minds are, where we're all at now that the dust has settled on the Ryder Cup. There was a sharp intake of breath, was there not? And Sunday night, Alex and I were just talking in the last commercial break at how Europe were not progressing in the singles. But at the end of the day, the Cup was won. The Ryder Cup was won again by Europe, and they got back into it in spite of this dramatic collapse and an amazing performance in the singles by the Americans. But as the dust settles now on what was an almighty tussle, at what point will the US inquest begin? This fellow was with us last week, did so well. We've asked him to join us now. Senior writer for Golf Digest, Alex Myers. Alex, you're a good man coming on after the Ryder Cup was denied you and the Europeans won it again. Did you think on Sunday, incidentally, my God, the way this is going, the US is going to do it?
You know, well, thank you for saying I did a good job. Obviously, my prediction was terribly wrong. But no, on Sunday, you know, it's crazy. I was walking around with an English colleague of mine, and he was the one freaking out and getting all nervous. And I kept saying, man, this is still 95%, 92%. I kept dropping. At one point, I thought, okay, maybe there's a chance here, which is crazy because at the start of the day, it seemed like it was 100%, 0% for the U.S. So it was a valiant effort by the U.S., but obviously too little, too late. And Team Europe was clearly the better team throughout. They were better prepared. They played better together, and hats off to them. They did a great job.
It's interesting, isn't it? The narrative around the American team has changed now, that they're seen as gallant losers because they put up such a fight in the singles. Right. Shouldn't more questions be asked about why they didn't turn up on the first 2 days? Are they not proving once again that when it comes to Ryder Cup, the USA are a team of individuals and Europe are a proper team?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. I think had the score ended up being as lopsided as it was, you'd hear a lot more criticism. But because they did show up on Sunday, finally, they're getting a little bit of a pass. But yeah, it's a lot easier to play when you're that far behind and you don't think you have any chance. So I do think it wasn't as close as the final score appears. It was a blowout throughout. I mean, they won the first 4 sessions, and certainly something needs to be done. Because, right, you could make an argument that they do have the better individual golfers, but clearly not the better team, clearly not the better strategies. Captain Keegan Bradley will be really criticized forever for that pairing of Colin Morikawa and Harris English, not only once, but twice, to put out what some statisticians thought was literally the worst possible pairing out of 132 combinations. He put that out twice. You could almost think that that's basically forfeiting 2 points, spotting Europe 2 points, and that's how much they ended up losing by. So certainly plenty to question, and they need to figure out something to play better in the team aspect those first 2 days.
Do you think that the Europeans, having people literally coming from all over Europe, want more and want to deliver more for the team themselves? Crookie just mentioned they seem to have more team spirit in there. I wonder whether, people coming from all over Europe really want to be part of this a little bit more than the Americans at the moment?
Yeah, I was always one to say, I think the Americans are just as into this or care about it just as much. I can't say that anymore. I mean, there's too many examples. I'll go to one that happened even before the Ryder Cup when Matt Wallace didn't win the Swiss Open, and he broke down in tears because he knew he wasn't going to make the Ryder Cup team. I mean, you would never see something like that from an American player. And then during the event, there's a picture of Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose putting their foreheads together. And I don't know, it just stood out to me. First of all, they put on just one of the most amazing performances I've ever seen that Saturday afternoon, beating Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau. And that picture of them just shows the strength, the bond, the spirit, the passion, how much these guys care. I don't know what the Americans can do to manufacture that, because clearly the Europeans grow up with this event being the pinnacle of the sport, and you can just see it. It flows out of them.
Alex, I've got to say, I was close to tears on Sunday night, but turned into tears of joy. I'm delighted to tell you. Listen, I've heard whispers that Tiger is going to be your next captain when it's played next in Ireland. Is that right?
It sounds like that's, all indicators are pointing to that. He has a great relationship with JP McManus. It's going to be at Adair Manor. He didn't do it this year, which everybody kind of thought was going to be the case, especially when they hired a general manager for the first time to kind of do some of the more logistical stuff. And honestly, that's not a great sign, because if he didn't want to do it already, as we've seen with Europe, the continuity that they have with their captains, with their vice captains, Tigers hasn't been in the mix now these couple years. I don't know if that's really the way to go. They brought in Keegan Bradley from the outside. That didn't work either. So I do think he will end up being the captain, but again, I don't know if he's the guy to turn it around.
I don't know either. I mean, what's he ever done in the sport?
No, but again, listen, he's a brilliant player. There's no question about that, but it doesn't always mean that he's going to be a great leader. On the subject of captains, I'd just like to know, Keegan Bradley, has he been called out in the media over there for not condemning the American fans for some of their treatment of Rory McIlroy in particular?
Not as much as you'd think. I know there was an angle where people were blaming him for kind of trying to rile up the crowd. I think that's a bit unfair, but I think you're right. I think he could have done more to come out and condemn what happened. Clearly the fans were across the line day after day. It just only escalated throughout the week. It got worse. It did not get any better. I don't know how much he could have actually done, but he could have maybe tried.
He could have called them out.
Right, exactly. He could have. I don't think that would have changed anything. I don't think that would have stopped them. It's 50,000 people coming in every day, many of whom aren't even really following it closely. They just want to go to the event and cheer. But I will say it is stunning when you hear the cheers from Americans. And it's sad. The loudest cheers are always a negative cheer towards the other side, towards the Europeans, versus a cheer for your own team. It was just bizarre. They did not have that amazing support. Even when Bryson and Justin Thomas walked to the first tee on Friday morning, draped in an American flag, they cheered, but after about 10 seconds, it just died down. They were dead. They were way more into shouting these anti-Euro and mostly anti-Rory things versus cheering on their own team, which was bizarre. And they not only crossed the line and looked bad themselves and embarrassed themselves, but they didn't show the support that I think Team USA thought they were going to get.
Well, Alex, we're going to give you plenty of abuse when you come over here in 2 years in Ireland. Not the American team, Alex, you.
Okay.
Not at all. Alex Myers, you were on with us last week and on again. I'm delighted to be speaking to you again here live on talkSPORT. And thanks for your contribution, even though it's a bit painful that the Americans didn't get it their way. But Alex, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me on. Europe's going to win in 27. I'm just throwing it out there. That's my prediction. I'm not going to change.
Great. You've gone early, but we've just clipped that up and we'll keep it. It's 12 noon.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With the headlines at 3 minutes past 12, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. Arsenal have announced William Saliba's 5-year contract extension. Here's Alex Crook.
So he's there now until 2030. We know that some big clubs in Europe, including Real Madrid, have shown interest. I think this is a real signal of intent from Arsenal. I understand the pay packet is 250 grand a week or thereabouts.
Arsenal host Olympiacos in the Champions League tomorrow night, live on talkSPORT. Tyrell Malacia is out of Manchester United's bomb squad. He's back in first-team training. That's ahead of the Sunderland game. As West Ham look to get over their poor start, Stuart Pearce has told White and Jordan Nuno Espirito Santo should aim for the consistency of David Moyes.
Probably in the Moisey era, he got rid of that fragility, if you like, and offered a little bit of consistency. Whilst the fans didn't overly like it on occasion, there was a consistency about the performance that you were going to get.
Nuno got a 1-1 draw in his first game at charge of West Ham at David Moyes' Everton. Now, ahead of the international break, Craig Gordon's been recalled to the Scotland squad. The keeper's back from a neck injury. Anthony Ralston and Kieran Tierney have also recovered to face Greece and Belarus next month. Aaron Ramsey's back in the Wales squad. That's for the first time since he moved to Mexico. Wales face England in a friendly, live on talkSPORT next Thursday. Then Belgium in a World Cup qualifier. And he missed out on the Ashes squad, but Rayan Ahmed has been named captain of the Lions. They'll tour Australia this winter alongside the senior squad. There's more Ashes build-up on talkSPORT's cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
Hamas is reviewing Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza, and the Prime Minister is to announce the NHS Online will launch in England in 2027 as a new virtual hospital. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Get a free vehicle safety check at all of our 600 centres nationwide to keep you safe on the road. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Mostly dry and settled across England and Wales with some sunny spells. Across most of Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's cloudier with some outbreaks of rain and brisk winds.
It's 5 minutes past 12 noon this Tuesday lunchtime. Welcome along, everybody. It's Jim White, Stuart Pearce and Alex Crook. We're live on talkSPORT. And, of course, as always now, you can watch the show as well as listen to it. You'll find us everywhere, live on Samsung, Apple TV, Android, Prime Video, wherever you want to watch it, we will be there for you. Fabian Hürzeler, the young manager of Brighton and Hove Albion, is going to be joining us. Alex and I had a chat with him just before we came on air. And, of course, it's a massive, massive night in Europe. Liverpool up against Galatasaray in Istanbul, and of course closer to home, just down the road from here, Mourinho's back at Chelsea. It's Chelsea up against Benfica. Both of them live on the talkSPORT network. Mr. Pearce and I are very interested in an upcoming event, specifically in London on October the 18th. The iconic Grosvenor Hotel in Mayfair will deliver 5 boxing matchups in the ring with the aim of raising as much as £500,000 for charities. Now, a whole bunch of people known in the football world are going to go head-to-head, and the footballers involved are being trained by the likes of Darren Barker, Enzo Maccarinelli, Dave Caldwell and James DeGale. So from the football pitch to the boxing ring, all in the name of charity, and these two are going head-to-head, we're joined by former Spurs midfielder David Bentley and former Chelsea man Jody Morris. Stuart, can you believe it? What have they let themselves in for?
Well, listen, they've spent so much money on sort of getting pretty.
Oh, no, this is naturally gifted.
Look at his teeth over there. They're at each other straight away. We've got money to spend. No, this is just all natural.
Yeah. Don't start there.
I'm telling you. I won't even get my teeth out.
I mean, I wake up like this. This is it.
So these two are going in the ring on the night. Later on that night, Curtis Davis against Paddy Kenny, Leroy Lita against David Noble, a few more as well, but we're interested very much in Bentley up against Morris. How did this come about? Jody, what have you let yourself in for?
It's a London battle.
Yeah. Well, I played with Graham Stack. I got a phone call off Stacky probably 7-8 months ago.
Yeah, he's organising it.
Yeah, and he just literally said, look, I want to raise some money for charity. And, you know, like you kind of blasé at the time. You go, yeah, do you know what? Let's see what I'm doing when it comes round. But I'll have a go. And in fairness, I'm a massive boxing fan. I've always admired and respected boxers. My family was into boxing and stuff like that. And it's like a bit of a bucket list. So I'd done the marathon this year, and I thought, do you know what? If I get through the other side of the marathon and the body hasn't packed up, then I'd give it a go. And obviously, the closer and closer it gets, you then start thinking, I don't know if I should have agreed that. But yeah.
When did you find out you're going in against David Bentley?
Well, do you know what? When we first, we went to the Grosvenor for a bit of a press day, and they was talking that I was maybe going to fight Leroy Lita. And I think when they saw the size difference between me and Leroy, and the fact that I think Leroy was still playing last season and I've been retired since 2012, but it was like, I'm not sure that's a great matchup. So I don't know whether that's so
you took the easy option.
No, I never
don't worry
took
about
it. The decision was taken out of my hands. So, but listen, it's all for charity, and I think let's get it right. Unless you're picking Alan Wright or Gianfranco Zola, whoever I'm fighting is going to be bigger than me, isn't they? So
he's making excuses.
They've ended up going with
that.
So here we go. David Bentley, how's the training been going?
It's going all right. I'm training with Kevin Mitchell down in Hornchurch at the Elm Park Boxing Club. Old school, love it. You go in there, they've got the energy, it's old school, and there's no hiding in there. I stepped in with a boy called Sonny Hardy yesterday. He's a 9-0 professional. Did 6 3-minute rounds. Kevin's got me right at it, isn't he?
Yeah.
I remember turning up. He said, "You're stepping in here today for 6 rounds, 3 minutes." I went, "No, I ain't. I'm not doing that." But stepped in yesterday and he caught me a few times. I'm happy I didn't go down, but the training's going all right, yeah. So and I've still got my teeth in, look.
Yeah?
Yeah, no.
What a smile that is.
Are you going to take them out for the fight?
Your teeth are looking all right.
We both went to the same teeth specialist.
Yeah, Lance he's called.
Exactly. I was at someone who dealt with Desert Orchid in the past. Here's the thing. What do you expect on the night? How serious is this going to be? Because you're pals. We see it here, don't we, Stuart? You're the best of chums. But do you want to knock him out? And Jody, do you want to knock him out?
Of course we do. I mean, we're professionals. You know, we played sort of at elite level sport, and you're competitive. Obviously, I'm keeping up with Jody's training. He's putting everything he can into it. We've been in sort of 4 or 5 week training camp now, and we're getting rid of the dad bods. And really tuning in.
Trying to.
Yeah, we're getting there. But no, 100% on the night, it'll all go off. Yeah, me and him will step into the ring and we both want to beat each other.
I mean, my God. I mean, how are you going to feel in the night?
Yeah, nervous. I got nervous walking around the hotel, to be fair, when we saw what room it was going to be in and the fact that we have to walk down some stairs on the ring walk. I was like, I mean, he might like it. He might have a certain few moves in the bag that we've all seen him at the races, didn't we? But listen, I'll be nervous because it's whatever. I was talking about this the other day. It's like I'm not great at golf, and when I first started golf 4 years ago, I'd get nervous if the groundsman was having a look at me. So doing something like this in it's a brutal sport, no matter what. It's a great sport, but it's brutal and it's very unforgiving. So I think if you're not having the best of nights, it could go quite wonky for you. So yeah, I'll definitely be nervous. But listen, it is what it is. Like you said, you hopefully get yourself into as good a nick as you can, and then give it your all. Like again, it's we don't really know each other. You might not know that sitting outside. We're actually getting on all right, but it's still, like you said, it's like when you step in the ring, you're going to want to win it.
Yeah.
Firstly, brilliant for what you're doing, raising the dough for the charity on a serious note. Secondly, what's the walk-on music for the pair of you?
Well, Stacky, I think that there's designated time is 3 minutes for all fighters. I think mine's going to be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's we're going to enjoy all that. I think on the night as well, it's about being respectful to the sport. You know, boxing, even being in and around it, it's an art form. It's not just like stepping in and having a tear up. You can throw your hands back. There's an art to it, and training. It's a pleasure going into the gym and sort of learning a different discipline every day, and sort of really understanding the game of boxing, and actually trying to implement that on the night. It's pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to my dance moves, like you mentioned, Cheltenham. Don't worry about that. That might be coming out on the way in. Intimidate you with my dance moves.
Is it tougher than football, Jody?
Miles tougher, and just repeating a little bit of what Dave said there. It's like. The respect that you have for boxers and the sacrifices that they make. I mean, I was lucky enough to be pals with Darren Barker while he was becoming middleweight champion of the world, and I saw firsthand the sacrifices that he made in making weight. And I think that's probably a part of the because the training's brutal as well. It's tough, and you're waking up with pains, but actually learning something new is really good as well. And when you feel that, I mean, I've been lucky enough to train at Fitzroy Lodge quite a bit, and then 12 Freeze Gym in Aldgate East, and you feel like you're learning stuff with not only just the coaches, but even some of the lads that are getting in the ring with you. They're trying to help you because they can see that you're novices and you're beginners. And I think just realising you're slightly getting better and you may be getting a bit fitter in that sport. Because I tried to get fit before we sort of started boxing training, and I felt that I was in half decent nick when I went to the gym. And then the first session I had, I just thought, I am so far off it here. It's a joke. And like I said, it's testament to anybody that gets in a ring, and especially these boxers that have managed to go on to achieve amazing things in the game. It's a brutal sport, but rewarding.
How's your fitness, David?
Yeah, not too bad now after Kevin Mitchell's put me through it. I mean, like Jodie's just said there, the training is sort of 2.5, 3 hours worth of sort of grind. It's been 4 weeks sort of hitting the gym again, which is good, obviously, for you. It's good to get back into that zone as well. It's something you sort of miss. Sort of that. It takes me back to sort of pre-season days, which you sort of hated but loved at the same time. And like I said, stepping into the ring and stepping in with professional fighters, and they're there to help you, but also giving you a few uppercuts and digs. Yeah. And I was happy I didn't go down yesterday with that left hook that I received there.
So, David, I mean, the match-up has been made, and Jody Morris will fight David Bentley. David, if there was one ex-rival or teammate that you could have got in the ring with, who would it have been if you had the final say?
I'd have probably got in with Beckham, wouldn't I? I said, I've had years of being compared to you. Get in the ring. We'll sort it out once and for all.
So you would have fought Beckham.
Yeah, let's
Jody,
call
what
him
about
out.
you? Who would you like to do a job on?
Like I said, I would have just picked someone that would be my size. So I don't think there's many out there. It probably would have been Gianfranco Zola, just to let's see how I get on with someone my size.
I think I've got Jimmy Bullard coming on my ring walk as well. Am I about that? You can have
don't
two
need the pair of you.
Double trouble.
Yeah, you don't need the pair of you.
Do you know what? Stuart's right. It is brilliant you're doing it. And the charity, Graham Stack of Pro Project Promotions, told us the other day, charities will benefit to the tune of £500,000 because of the likes of David and Jody getting in the ring. But what do you expect on the night, Jody?
Well, I expect to take some punishment. I think there's no hiding place. Like I said, we're not going in, and the levels I'm hoping they're not, unless you've been playing a hell of a game bluffing here. But the levels, like I said, I think we're all around the same sort of level. None of us have been it's not like we're going in with, I don't know, like Curtis Woodhouse, who went on to win a British title, or like a Leon McKenzie, who grew up in a boxing family and you could tell had been in the boxing ring. I think we're all fairly new to it.
Right.
So I'm expecting to take some punishment, but I'm also trying to dish it out. And like on the night, it's whatever happens. And like you said, you want to be able to implement some of the stuff that you've hopefully learned, and kind of don't gas out as quickly as maybe we was doing a month ago. But who knows what happens on the night? I think we've all seen in boxing before that game plans go out the window. As what was it Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Exactly. And David, you obviously haven't told Jody you've been sparring with Parker.
Obviously the guys in the gym have sort of said I'm a cross between sort of, Tyson Fury, Muhammad Ali, and a bit of Usyk in there. So you got to
fair play.
But no, on a bit of Usyk. But no, on the night we're looking to be respectful, make sure we're technically sort of correct, everything that we've learned, not going there just throwing our hands about and gas out, like you said, and we're both there. Obviously, we're competitive. Look, he's got the steely eye now, don't we?
You just steer straight ahead when you're answering. Yeah. I like that. Stuart, I mean, nobody would be brave enough to get in the ring with you, mate. If you were asked,
I'm no boxer, mate. I used to lead with my face playing football, so hence being ugly. It's only the pretty boys that want to get in the ring now to prove something to the world. I don't know what's going on here. But listen, for me, it's brilliant. To turn that dough over, it's a tough place, whether you're an amateur or not. Getting in that ring, I remember the late Ricky Hatton. We took our coaching staff at Man City to watch one of his training sessions when he was building up to a fight. And the local paper said, would I get in the ring and just like pose next to him? And he threw a few punches. I didn't even see him.
Yeah.
And you start to realise what a lonely place that ring is, you know what I mean? So credit to you both.
I think so. It's marvellous. The other matchups, Curtis Davis, Paddy Kenny. Who do you think wins that?
Ooh. Two heavyweights there. Big ends. I mean, I coached Curtis at Derby, so I'd have to probably lean towards Curtis, and that he's going to have a hell of a reach. But Paddy's in good nick, isn't he? He's lost a bit of weight, and he's been training hard. So who knows? I think I think everyone's going to be a bit of a toss-up.
Oh, I mean, Lita against Noble. Leroy Lita, David Noble. What about the other? Lee Trundle? He's a big unit, isn't he? Up against Anthony Gardner.
Flamboyant Trundle, look at that. He had the skills, didn't he? He's got the skills.
But that's what I mean. These people, I said it when I knew I was fighting Dave. I was like, I hope his technique ain't like it was on the football pitch, because he was a technical player. And you're going, if you can throw your hands how he could cross a ball, I'll be in trouble. But like you said, we never know how it's going to go.
And Greg Halford against Marvin Elliott. I've got to echo what Stuart has said. Guys, well done. I mean, before you even go in there, what an effort you're making, and it's all in the name of charity.
And I think it's important to mention as well, we keep talking about the amount that we're trying to... I think it's important that we say that it's what we're trying to raise. We haven't raised that yet, so we still need people to be putting their hands in their pockets and try and come to the night. I know it's difficult times at the moment, but we haven't achieved what we're trying to achieve as far as raising the money at the moment, so it's important we try and keep trying to get people to put their hands
October
in their
the
pocket.
18th, the iconic Grosvenor Hotel in Mayfair in London. These two will be there doing their bit. Well done, and we wish you both well.
Cheers,
Come out of it unscathed, I'm sure you will.
I'll be all right.
With those lovely facial features intact. David Bentley up against Jody Morris, and as I say, it's in the Grosvenor in Mayfair, October 18. It's not too late to get along to that, all in the name of charity. Jim White, Stuart Pearce and Alex Crook, we're back next. get down to Brighton very shortly. Have a chat with Fabian Hürzeler, the Brighton and Hove Albion head coach. Looking forward to that. Well, we spoke to him earlier on. You can look forward to it because he spoke very well. Still on the theme of boxing, we're going to cast our net a bit further afield. We're off to Africa, to Nigeria specifically. Nigeria this week hosts the second of Amir Khan's promotions in Africa, following his debut event as a promoter in Ghana, which neighbours Nigeria. That was back in June. This time, African-American cruiserweights Brandon Glanton and Marcus Brown head up the card, and the fight takes place on Wednesday, which is Nigerian Independence Day, as Alex has just reminded me, and it's been broadcast on DAZN, as well as the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Let's go to Nigeria now and speak to the promoter, Amir Khan. Amir, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. It's funny because it's quite new when you say the promoter, because normally you say the fighter, the boxer. But now obviously I'm wearing a different hat, being in boxing. But you know what, we're here in Nigeria. Honestly, it's a fantastic place, and the people here are so lovely. It's the first time I've come here. The hospitality that we've been getting and the way they've been treating us, it's been phenomenal. Can't wait for the big fight, 1st of October. On Independence Day of Nigeria. The cause looking on fire. I mean, having the likes of Brandon and Brown, and I mean, that's the main fight. And yesterday at the press conference, they did get a bit heated up. Both fighters don't like each other, which makes it always an exciting fight. And then the undercard, Danaziz and other names were there. I mean, I think we are looking at a great event on 1st of October.
So it's your second event in Africa, as I explained in the introduction, Amir. Why are you targeting Africa?
Yeah. So we, when we went to Ghana at the event that we had there a month or two ago, someone came over to us and said, look, I want to do a bigger show for you. I love the setting that you've done here. I love the amazing event. The card has been amazing. We want you to come to Nigeria. Now, we know Nigeria is a massive city. Lagos is a massive city, and Nigeria is a massive country with a massive population. And you can see how many great champions there are. You have the likes of Joshua. You've got so many top Nigerian fighters, past and present, who have been world champions. I thought it's a great location to come and do boxing over here. And we just came, had 1 or 2 meetings. You know, in life, it's about meeting the right people. We've just met the right person in Nigeria who's supported us, and we've supported them, and we made the show happen.
It's fantastic. Looking forward to hearing how it goes. Amir, Terence Crawford came out on top against Canelo. What was your take on that?
What a fight that was, honestly. Yeah, it was so hard to stay up. I had a blanket over me, and I was watching the telly, and I was in Dubai, and me and the wife were sat there watching, and I just couldn't keep my eyes open. It must have been like 10 minutes before the fight. I must have nodded off. So I did watch the fight live, but I watched it in the morning, and what a fight it was. I mean, one thing about Crawford, and I said it from a day dot, that he has the best timing, he is strong, and he will stand with Canelo, and he did that. He did exactly what I said. You know, when I was saying that, a lot of people are saying that, a lot of people are telling me that, oh, but Canelo's a bigger guy, he's a stronger guy. Yes, he is, but the way Crawford knows how to move people, how to deal with these heavy guys. I've seen him wrestle at heavyweights and super heavyweights in the gym, but what he did that night, his size, you know, the size he put on the fight as well. I mean, he looked like a full middleweight himself as well. I mean,
yes, indeed.
Canelo wasn't the bigger guy. Canelo didn't push him around like a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
And when it comes to power punches, most power punches were landed by Crawford as well. So what a fight that was.
Amir, here's Alex.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Amir, I think it's probably the first time we've had you on since the sad passing of Ricky Hatton, just what he meant for you personally and his legacy in the world of boxing.
You know, Ricky was a very dear friend, man, and one of the guys that got me into boxing. I remember going to one of his big fights at the MEN Arena, and he was selling out arenas. Everywhere you would go around Manchester, people are singing his praises, and you know, they had a song made for him. Even when he went to Vegas, I mean, the things that he did for British boxing, go to America, taking thousands and thousands of fans to Vegas and making it a whole Ricky Hatton event. I mean, these are things that we always going to remember. You know, the advice he gave me as a professional, when I turned professional, he's always there beside me. He used to come to my gym to watch me train, always be very supportive. You know, these are things that I'm never, ever going to forget. And, you know, we were supposed to meet in Dubai because he had a flight on that weekend. The day he was caught, where they found him dead in his house, he had a car waiting for him outside to bring him to the airport because he had a flight to Dubai. He was going to do an exhibition fight. We was going to catch up for dinner. We was going to catch up with for a few drinks and a catch up. But obviously, it is sad times. We've lost a massive name in boxing at such a young age. Someone who's always going to be, remembered.
Nice words, Amir. Thank you so much for joining us from far off Lagos in Nigeria. We wish you well with that boxing promotion, Amir Khan. These days, one-time great fighter, now aspiring promoter. And of course, he's targeted Africa. One time in Ghana, now it's Nigeria. In the meantime, here in London, we're coming up to 12:30.
A point in the bank, but plenty of work to do for Nuno. His opening game in the West Ham dugout ended in a 1-1 draw with Everton, live on talkSPORT. But the new Hammers boss says there are encouraging signs.
Try to create like we did in the goal and balance situations, take advantage of the speed that we have, but overall being more compact, close to each other, simple.
So the West Ham faithful are now hopeful of a turnaround after only one win in the league so far this season. Nicky Hawkins, founder of West Ham TV, says it was clear Graham Potter had to go.
We changed a couple of things at Forest and we got a result. But things just went downhill very quickly from there, and I think he'd lost the players.
Now, frustration for Thomas Frank. Dominic Solanke's had minor ankle surgery. Some positives, though. The Spurs boss doesn't expect the striker to be out for long. Tonight they're away in the Arctic Circle, facing Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. At the same time, a special one returns to Stamford Bridge. Jose Mourinho's Benfica take on Chelsea, live on talkSPORT from 7. He told us blue won't be the colour, though.
Will be my Chelsea until start. Will be my Chelsea after the game. During the game, that's my Benfica, and the only thing that matters.
And reports suggest Leeds winger Dan James has suffered a significant injury in training. Leeds host Spurs this Saturday lunchtime. That's live and exclusive here on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
I'll tell you who's the real deal with Selco Builders Warehouse. After the weekend we had, Arsenal, well, they won at Newcastle, Liverpool lost at Crystal Palace, and Brighton, what a job they did at Stamford Bridge, just down the road from here, beating Chelsea by 3-1. Let's stick with Brighton, and more specifically, their 32-year-old coach, the German Fabian Hürzeler. He very much is the real deal, is he not? It's a 9th Premier League season for Brighton. Is it a sign of how far this club has come that these days that kind of statement result on Saturday, well, it doesn't come to us as any surprise anymore? Is that the mindset that Fabian wants to engender there?
I think it's what the boys are doing on the pitch. So they prove it not only once, they prove it now several times that they are capable of beating everyone in the league. And it's not like that they do it only once a season. I think especially the last 2-3 years, they proved they can compete with the biggest teams in the league. And the main thing is that they always stick together. They always try to find solutions against individual quality. They always showed like great character. No matter how many adversity they have to face during the games, they show great character. They have personality on the pitch and beside the pitch. And I think Brighton proves over the years that togetherness can beat individual quality, that a good environment can beat individual quality, that a good work ethic and a good mentality the players have that can beat individual quality. And that's the way from Brighton. So therefore I'm really delighted how the players are doing the last years.
You look at the Premier League table at this moment in time, and it's got quite an unfamiliar feel about it. Obviously, Brighton's arch rivals, Crystal Palace, are flying high. Bournemouth are up there in and around the Champions League places. Sunderland have made a phenomenal start to life back in the top flight. Does it feel like this is a really open season? And how much do clubs like Brighton enjoy playing the role of disruptor to the established order?
Yeah, we see ourselves always as the challenger. So our main thing is we really want to challenge the establishment. And challenge the establishment doesn't only mean to challenge the big teams. I think that's the thing we have to work on to also be the challenger if we face teams that are on our level, and therefore we have to improve. But overall, I said it in the last season that the Premier League is so competitive, it's so equal. Small margins just make the difference, and you can see it in this season so far that if teams are doing well, if they fit to their style of play, if they have a good connection on the pitch, for example, Palace, Bournemouth, and also Sunderland, then you can beat the teams with the individual quality. So, yeah, it's always a tough challenge. You have to be on the highest level every weekend. You have to do the small margins right, and then you can see what is possible. And therefore, let's see how open it stays till the end of the season.
Fabian, I've been down there with you. I've been lucky enough to be alongside you, and we've done some question and answer sessions with the fans, and they are great fans, the Brighton fans. I hope Simon Jordan is listening. But I tell you what, Fabian, they love you, and the top brass at the club appears to really like the way you do your job. £250 million in 3 transfer windows since you were appointed. Is that a sign of the club's ambitions with you?
Yeah, I think the owner with Tony, with the CEO, with Paul Barber, also with the guys working in the shadow and the things we try to implement, we really show that we have ambitions. And I think that's also where we should be proud of and where we should have also the confidence of talking about that, because Brighton wants to achieve something. Brighton wants to make the next step. But therefore, for sure, you need to, first of all, show behavior on the pitch, show the right work ethic. And then, of course, you need to invest money, because when you see how many other teams are investing money, then you have to be good in these things as well, because otherwise you can't compete. We have one of the best recruitment system in the world. I think it's shown in the last season, in the last years, that this system is quite one of the best because it's working. So the biggest challenge will always be like, of course, you can spend money, but then really try to implement the players, try to immediately create like a togetherness, create a good environment, because that's the main thing here in Brighton, that we live from our values, we live from our environment, we live from the fans that support us, because it's not only a one-man show in this club. It's starting by Tony, by the owner, that he always talks very transparent, that he always shares his ideas, his decision making, and it continues with me, it continues with the players, and then to the fans. So that's the club. It works only together. But for sure, we proved it in the last season that we have ambitions. We shouldn't be satisfied what we achieved in the last years. We want to make the next step. But the first thing is really do it and show it on the pitch, and not only talk about that.
How flattering is it for you when your name gets attached to clubs like Manchester United, as happened earlier this week? Your name came up in a newspaper article when they were talking about potential successors at Manchester United.
Yeah, of course, it's always an honor to be part of the rumours, but I really respect the coach Mourinho there. So I think it's not the right thing to talk about this. Overall, I can say that it's a privilege to work for Brighton. I'm very, very happy to be the coach here, and we have a lot of work in front of us.
Very nicely dealt with, Fabian. Can you take inspiration, Fabian, from the likes of Nottingham Forest, dare I say it, Crystal Palace, with what they have done in recent months? It shows it's not a closed shop anymore.
Yeah, I think Palace and also Nottingham, they're great examples. If you have like a good connection on the pitch, if you have a good togetherness, if you have a clear style of play, of course, in some moments you need luck. I think Nottingham, also Palace, in the right moments, they had the luck they deserved for sure. But it gives us also like the belief in ourselves that everything's possible in football. You just need to work hard. You need to stick to your principles. You need to trust yourself. Don't focus too much on the results. The results will come. So these are the main things. But for sure, these types of results and also achievements, especially what Palace and Nottingham achieved in the last season, show what is possible in football in the Premier League, and therefore we try to work hard to achieve the same things.
I mean, you spoke, Fabian, briefly about going to the next level with Brighton. What does that look like in your eyes?
To really establish ourselves in the top group and try to get like consistency in our results. I think that's the main thing. We proved it this season that we can beat the big teams, but in some moments we are struggling against the teams where it might be more equal, where they have the same individual quality like us. So therefore, I think the next step is really like getting consistency in the performances and in the results, and then I'm sure that we can stabilize ourselves also in the position in the table.
How do you see the stylistic challenge in the Premier League this season? Because I was speaking to Arne Slot at Selhurst Park on Saturday, and he was saying the Premier League has, in his words, become the set-piece league because so many goals now come from corners and free kicks, and we're seeing a lot more long throws as well. Is that a challenge for a team like Brighton, who obviously playing it a different way?
Definitely. It's a big challenge. I think I won't disagree with this. So a lot will come back to set pieces, and on top of that, I think the intensity and the physicality will be a big factor in the future. So you need to be capable of running a lot of distance in a high speed. So therefore, I think you really need to adapt without losing your style of play, without losing your identity. And I think that's the main challenge in the future, that we stick to our principles, because our style will always be try to play football, because we have young players, and young players like only develop if you find solutions in possession, if you find like solutions on the ground, if they find good solutions when there's a lot of pressure, when there's a lot of opponents around them. So therefore really try to emphasize the style of play that we try to build up from the back, and that we try to find solutions against the low block. But on top of that, you need to be capable of adapting. So we also have to be really good in set pieces. We need to adapt to the physicality, to intensity, and that's what we try to do every day. Try to improve, try to get fitter, try to be more ruthless regarding set pieces, try to defend set pieces better. These are things you have to face and try to make the best out of it.
We're almost there, Fabian. I noticed you spoke about Carlos Baleba last week, and you spoke about him needing to stay humble. There was all sorts of speculation about Manchester United. Are you confident you'll get the best out of him yet?
I'm confident that we will get the best out of him. So I think he needs time. He's a young boy. So his development in the last year was incredible. And maybe it went a little bit too fast. So there were a lot of like rumors about him. And he played an incredible season. But I always try to be and stay humble also with the players, because in young players or with young players, it's normal that there will be like some waves in his development. At the moment, we have a wave. So therefore, the only way to get out of these things is try to keep working hard, try to use every training session you can have, try to get as most minutes on the pitch. And I saw a better Carlos Baleba at the weekend, and I'm sure that we'll see a better Carlos Baleba in the next game. And then it's about us to get him back into shape. I'm quite convinced that he will be there soon.
So listen, 1 year in to life in England and the Premier, what surprised you most about the Premier League? This league?
The energy in the stadium, it's incredible. You can't describe it. The fans is like they are very like behaved after what happens on the pitch. So it's not like that you always have loud fans, but if there's energy, intensity on the pitch, there's an incredible like atmosphere in the stadium. Then on top of that, I think the intensity is incredible, and that is so unpredictable. So we just spoke before about which teams at the moment perform well, and I think it's coming back that the Premier League is so competitive. Every club is capable of beating everyone, and therefore this makes this league so special and to the best league in the world.
Fabian Hürzeler, the Brighton head coach, and he undoubtedly is our pick for this week's Real Deal with Selco Builders Warehouse. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
The Real Deal on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's Real Deals at selcobw.com.
You know, when football legends, if you like, speak their minds, then we tend to listen. And on this occasion, we really are tuned in. Manchester United, not in Europe. It seems weird that Manchester United are not in Europe, but they aren't, and that's a fact. And Wayne Rooney is certainly a legend of the club, and he's been speaking his mind. Wayne Rooney has admitted he has, quotes, no faith in Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim, and claimed that he no longer recognises the club. I don't recognise the whole football club, says Wayne. I honestly hope he can turn it around and that he does. But if you're saying to me, do you believe that he will? Then from what I've seen, honestly, I've got no faith in it. I don't see players fighting. I don't see character. I don't see a desire to win. I don't see ability. I don't see match winners. Nothing that gets me off my feet. So Rooney painting a very bleak picture regards Manchester United and what the future holds, both in the short and the long term. This is not Manchester United, says Wayne Rooney. Another legend of the game is Stuart Pearce. What do you make of that?
Well, it's quite damning when an ex-player makes those assessments of the football club that he obviously loves so well. I'm old enough to realise and remember United getting relegated in the 70s, so I've seen a very fragile Man United. Wayne Rooney's of an age where he's only ever seen the colossus that is Alex Ferguson's Manchester United, you know, firsthand, and he's been part of that history as well. So he's right in what he says. This isn't the Manchester United that people remember from the Alex Ferguson era, you know, that ended in 2012, I think it was. So it's a different football club now with different players, with different aspirations. And in some ways, I've done the last game of the season, Aston Villa at home, and I walked to the ground, and I've no affiliation with Manchester United, but I actually felt sorry for the fans. Really did.
Wow. Do you think the tide is turning on Amorim now, Stuart?
Well, put it this way, if the season doesn't improve, then I can't see, maybe he'll be in place at the end of the season, it's fair to say.
Stuart, I mean, Alex, I should say, when you hear Rooney saying things like, I'm seeing players, they don't deserve to wear the shirt and it hurts. When you played for the club and you care about it, this is not acceptable, what is going on. The soul has gone from the club. It needs a new engine, a new lease of life. In other words, the club's dead. For the time being, there's no life in the club.
I think he's right. And, you know, Stuart said it's not the Manchester United of the Sir Alex Ferguson era. It may well never be the Manchester United of the Sir Alex Ferguson era again. I would suggest it's not even the Manchester United of the Ron Atkinson era back in the late mid-1980s. This is the lowest that Manchester United have been, the worst Manchester United team of my lifetime. And the man in the dugout is looking hopelessly out of his depth. This is not a sort of knee-jerk reaction from Wayne Rooney 6 games into a season. This is 34 or 33 Premier League games now that Ruben Amorim has overseen. He's taken 34 points. That is relegation form. He's been there a year in November. He's not won back-to-back games yet. And every time it looks like Manchester United take a step forward, as they seem to in that defeat of Chelsea, they take 2 back. I mean, the defending at Brentford was lamentable. The tactics from Ruben Amorim were lamentable. The body language of the manager not being able to watch as his captain took and missed a penalty was lamentable. And I'm of the belief now the only reason that he is still in situ is because Ineos have hung their hat on him to turn United's fortunes around. So Jim Ratcliffe has backed him. Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada have picked him ahead of other candidates that were recommended by Dan Ashworth. Ironically, that United would now consider. It is self-preservation on behalf of the hierarchy that they are sticking and backing a manager who is clearly floundering. And I think Manchester United fans are pretty close to the end of their tether.
I think I'm right in saying, Stuart, that at one stage, I think Sir Alex has said that one of the players he'd love to have had in his time at Manchester United was Paul Gascoigne. That did not happen. And we know that Gascoigne played in Italy for Lazio, etc. But Paul Gascoigne is going to be a guest on this show with Simon and myself early on next month, and we eagerly look forward to it. He's got a book coming out. So Gaza will bring everything that Gaza brings when he comes into this studio. Stuart, when you look back at it, what did we have in the game in Paul Gascoigne?
He's the best I've ever played alongside. I was fortunate. I made my debut for England in 87. Gaza made his debut in 88. So near enough every game I played for England, Gaza was on the same pitch at the same time. I feel privileged to have taken the pitch with him. I've got to say, for what he stood for as his personality, he was infectious around the place. What people don't realise as well, with shoebox players this day and age, he's a holding midfield player, he's this, he's that. Gazza could head it, he could tackle, he could run, he could score goals, he could defend. He'd done the whole lot. You know, he was incredible. The only one close to him in my era was probably Brian Robson. Very similar ilk of a player. Incredible character and just arguably the arrogance that he had on a football pitch in a really good way, Jim, was just brilliant to see. I was just lucky. I was a journeyman fullback that was lucky enough to share a football pitch with the likes of Gascoigne. Brilliant.
Looking forward to it. Stuart, thank you so much. Brilliant today.
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Crook, I shall see you again very soon.
You will.
Simon will be back tomorrow. And as I mentioned, Paul Gascoigne in with us in a few days to come yet. But when he does, expect the unexpected. It's 1 o'clock.